Chapter 10-12. The crowd cheered as if they had gone mad. From this, one could see Jiang Jingtian's status in martial God City. Even the older generation didn't recognize Yi Qinghan's identity. Yi Qinghan was the spiritual pillar of the insane sect, so Jiang Jingtian was the spiritual pillar of martial God City. Yi Qinghan nodded. He almost couldn't handle it. The clan elder was afraid something might go wrong, so he quickly stopped them. Get ready to go. We'll reach the central city in the morning, and then we'll start bartering for 7 days. After that, the children will fight. Don't waste time, and no one is allowed to disturb Jingtian's training. The clan elder was very powerful, and no one dared to go against his will. The gold-winged rock spread its wings and covered the sky. It was a few 100 feet wide, and there was more than enough space for a few 100 people to sit on. There were more than 20 children, and the rest were all middle-aged people. Some of them had tamed ferocious birds, and they all rode the birds by themselves. There was also a group of people who had tamed beasts such as tigers, leopards, bears, and so on. They all rode the elder's golden-winged great pings. Sit tight. Let's go. The clan elder ordered. The rock spread its wings and flew 90,000 miles, leaving the others behind. The gold-winged rock flew through the clouds. The light above the clouds was much brighter than in the lower realms. They could see the weak sun. Yi Qinghan looked up, confused. He couldn't figure out where he was. It was clearly not the same world as Chaos World. The Abyss entrance was a teleporter. Once they entered the Abyss entrance, they would enter another world. Whoosh, whoosh. All kinds of unknown flying beasts flew into the clouds, chasing after each other. They were as fast as lightning, and the entire mountain range could be seen. There were also many scattered villages and ancient forests. However, the super ferocious beasts had already been tamed, so they wouldn't attack the villagers. The mountain range was big, but the 3 cities were separated by a distance of 10,000 miles. They formed an equilateral triangle, and there was a single city in the middle. It was built to facilitate communication between the 3 cities. The golden-winged great rock reduced its speed for the distance of several thousand li. In order to maintain its distance from the people behind it, it arrived in less than an hour. A group of people landed outside the central city, put away their fierce pets, and stepped into the city. Although it was called a city, it was actually not. In fact, the city walls were piled up with stones, only 2 to 3 meters high. The houses in the city were crisscrossed, and the streets extended in all directions. Many people had already arrived, each occupying the best position, and began to barter. The clan elder led the group to a place with fewer people. After occupying a space, they took out all the treasures that they didn't need and placed them neatly. Many of them were demon cores, and some were chaos-grade treasures that emitted chaos-grade aura. The divine bird went crazy on the spot. Yi Qinghan could not hold it in any longer and flew out of his bosom. F***ck. So many treasures. The divine bird's eyes lit up as it drooled. Everyone looked at the divine bird. Jiang Jingyun looked at the masked Yi Qinghan in surprise and asked, "Isn't that Senior Ye's spiritual pet? Why is it with Brother Jingtian?" "I borrowed it to look for some treasures." Yi Qinghan lowered his voice and said hoarsely. Everyone suddenly realized and stopped thinking about it. They obviously could not guess that Yi Qinghan was Jiang Jingtian, and Jiang Jingtian was Yi Qinghan. "Look, it's Jiang Jingtian. It's been 10 years, and he actually appeared again." The divine bird attracted everyone's attention, but they did not fix their eyes on it. Instead, they locked their eyes on Yi Qinghan, who was wearing the Qilin mask. "Jiang Jingtian, it's really him. A legendary figure. Yan Zhenfeng and Xianyuan Lu have an opponent this time. This competition is interesting. Yan Zhenfeng and Xianyuan Lu lost to Jiang Jingtian 10 years ago. For the past 10 years, they have been thinking about revenge and reviving their glory. Unfortunately, Jiang Jingtian did not appear after that. This time, we can feast our eyes on the battle between the Qilin, the white tiger, and the black tortoise. We can watch the three geniuses dominate the central city. Everyone discussed animatedly and analyzed the situation thoroughly. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and pulled the divine bird back. He said in a low voice, "Don't cause trouble for me. I don't have any treasures right now, so I can't exchange them for treasures. Just relax and watch." The divine bird was very unwilling. How could it go back empty-handed after coming to the land of treasures? On the surface, it seemed to be obedient to Yi Qinghan, but its two eyes emitted a sinister light that made people shudder. Many people could not help but move the treasures around them closer. Yi Qinghan sighed. He had a bad feeling in his heart. If this guy met the divine bird, it would cause a lot of trouble. "Help me look around and see if there is any chaos source here. If you find it, I will let you meet the divine bird sooner." Yi Qinghan tempted. Good, good, good. Leave it to the great spirit-devouring god parrot. I will succeed immediately. The divine parrot said excitedly. It seemed like it had been wanting to mate with its own kind for a long time. Jiang Jingyun kept staring at Yi Qinghan's back. He listened to the conversation between the divine bird and him and muttered in his heart, "Why does Big Brother Jingtian also need the chaos source? Could it be that he is not Big Brother Jingtian, but Senior Yi?" At this moment, Yi Qinghan began to wander the streets with the divine bird. His 4 eyes lingered on every stall for a period of time. The divine bird seemed to be a little confused, drooling at the sight of the treasures. It was unwilling to shift its gaze away. Yi Qinghan was so angry that he roared, "Do you want to see your husband or not?" "Yes, yes. Don't be angry. This is my occupational disease. I can't walk away when I see treasures. Let me slowly change." The divine bird swallowed its saliva and looked away. It continued to search for treasures. There were many rare treasures and chaos-level divine herb. Not to mention the divine bird, even Yi Qinghan was envious. If these things were taken out, they would definitely be sold for a sky-high price. Unfortunately, the yin-yang ring could not be opened, so there was no way to exchange for them. There was no way to even exchange for them with martial arts technique. We are only looking at the chaos source. No matter how precious the other things are, I can't afford them. Yi Qinghan said honestly. "Pauper, you can't even compare to me. I still have many treasures." The divine bird muttered. Yi Qinghan was stunned. He grabbed the divine bird's little claw and did not find the yin-yang ring. He could not help but ask, "Where did you hide the treasures? Take them out and exchange them for something useful. These things are not easy to find." The divine bird was even more stunned. It asked in confusion, "What treasures? What treasures?" Yi Qinghan. This fellow and the divine bird were indeed birds of the same species. They were both F*King moneygrubbers. If one wanted to take treasures from them, it was basically impossible without benefit. "I'll call you little moneygrubber from now on." Yi Qinghan was speechless and mocked it. If you have treasures, you can walk all over the world. If you don't have treasures, you can't move an inch. What do you know? Don't be fooled by my strength. I have a wide network. In the abyss world, most of the powerful creatures know me and give me face. Who dares to provoke me? The little money grubber sneered disdainfully. Chapter 10:13. The little money grubber followed Yi Qinghan on the streets, occasionally commenting on the divine treasures and calling them trash. Because Yi Qinghan had Jiang Jingtian's name, many people were angry but did not dare to say anything. Yi Qinghan was used to the divine bird's despicable nature and did not say much. He kept looking at the stalls on both sides of the street. He coveted the treasures, but there were no treasures to exchange for them. He could only sigh. As time passed, the entire central city was filled with divine treasures. There were also some rare ferocious beasts that couldn't be tamed and could only be suppressed by force. The powerful birds and ferocious beasts were terrifying. Even if they were restrained by powerful divine spells, no one dared to get close. The divine bird met a few familiar faces and hoped that Yi Qinghan would save them. However, once these powerful creatures were tamed, they would be a huge help. They were worth cities. The divine bird did not have that many treasures to exchange for them, so it could only give up. The divine bird was unhappy. It felt that it was following a piece of trash. If not for the fact that there was a male divine bird of the same species in his bloodline, it would not have followed Yi Qinghan. As Yi Qinghan walked, he suddenly looked at a small beast. It looked like a cat, but it was too small. It was only the size of a fist. There was a tuft of white fur on its head, and the rest of its body was black. Although it was small, its aura was very strong. Even though it was suppressed, it was still filled with the aura of a king. What kind of cat is that? Yi Qinghan looked at the cat in the hands of a big man and asked curiously. Are you blind? Is that a cat? You can't even recognize a chaos beast, but this thing was caught. That big man is amazing, the little money grubber said in shock. There was a hubbub of voices on both sides of the street. It was very noisy. No one was paying attention to what the divine bird was saying. The divine bird lay on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and whispered, If you want to find the chaos origin, this chaos beast can help you. It feeds on the chaos god source. Although it is not as good at finding treasures as I am, it is 100 times better than me when it comes to finding chaos god source mines. This creature is extremely rare. Many people only know of its name but not its existence. Although it has been captured by someone, that person definitely does not know anything about the chaos beast. Yi Qinghan walked towards the burly man as if nothing had happened. He slowly squatted down and looked around. He found that this man had a lot of supreme treasures on his stall, and every one of them was of the chaos level. It was obvious how strong this man was. Yo, isn't this Jing Tian? What treasure have you taken a fancy to? Uncle Yen will give you a 20% discount, the burly man joked. Under Yi Qinghan's mask, there was no change in his expression. He said calmly, Thank you, Uncle Yen. What is this kitten? I don't know. It's pretty fast. I had to team up with a lot of people to catch it, but it doesn't seem to have much attack power. It's just a little fast, Uncle Yen said with a shrug. My little money grubber spiritual pet likes it. Give me a price. If I can trade it, I'll trade it, Yi Qinghan said readily. This plaything is useless. It would rather die than merge with me. Otherwise, my speed would increase by several times. You're not someone who likes pets. If I trade it with a supreme treasure, your clan elder won't say that I'm lying to a child, will he? Uncle Yen said, feeling a little troubled. It's okay. I can still make this decision. I'm just looking for a companion for my little money grubber, Yi Qinghan said calmly. All right then. Give me a top-grade half-step Lord-level divine medicine in exchange for it. Uncle Yen was very straightforward. It seemed that he really did not know anything about the chaos beast. Yi Qinghan reached out and grabbed the little money grubber in the palm of his hand. He said calmly, Since I'm buying you a playmate, you'll be the one to pay for this divine medicine. The little money grubber flew into a rage and roared furiously, You despicable, shameless scumbag. You're clearly. Yi Qinghan's aura changed immediately and he snorted coldly. The little money grubber was so frightened that he dared not say another word. It's clearly you don't want to give me the treasure. All right, I'll give you the treasure. The little money grubber felt very wronged. Just like the divine bird, he bullied the weak and feared the strong. Yi Qinghan gave in immediately in a fit of anger. Swoosh! The little money grubber pulled out a top-grade chaos divine medicine from somewhere. The fist-sized ginseng was almost humanoid. It was full of divinity and filled with a mysterious chaos aura. It was definitely a supreme treasure-level god treasure. If an upper-rank god priest ate it, he could break through his bottleneck instantly and elevate to half-step lord level. Take it. You'll pay me back tenfold in the future. The little money grubber threw the ginseng to Yi Qinghan unhappily. Yi Qinghan was expressionless. He handed the ginseng directly to Uncle Yen and took the chaos beast. He realized that the energy in its body was completely chaos energy. However, it was completely suppressed and could not move at all. At that moment, it was glaring angrily at Yi Qinghan and bared its teeth. Without a doubt, with the defenses of his physical body, breaking his bones with its fangs would be child's play. Yi Qinghan and the chaos beast stared at each other. Lightning flashed in their eyes. Neither was willing to back down. Yi Qinghan's aura gradually rose as he tried to suppress the chaos beast. However, the chaos beast struggled more and more wildly. It bared its fangs and could not wait to swallow Yi Qinghan whole. Hee, little fellow, don't be so ungrateful. If Master hadn't saved you, you would have been reduced to a pet. You're still bearing your fangs. Be careful that this divine bird doesn't pull out all your fangs. The divine bird scolded angrily. Roar! The chaos beast twisted its body and glared angrily at the little money grubber. It kept growling. The little money grubber also started to use the language of divine beasts to fight back. Slowly, the chaos beast started to calm down. It stopped growling and struggling. It lay quietly in Yi Qinghan's hands. Yi Qinghan looked at the little money grubber but did not say anything. He directly placed the chaos beast on his shoulder and continued walking. More and more people gathered on both sides. They were all bargaining. The divine bird did not say anything else. It was afraid that Yi Qinghan would take a fancy to something and ask it to pay for it. However, Yi Qinghan was not very interested in these treasures. Without the chaos origin, no matter how many chaos treasures there were, they would be useless. If he could not use his god power, they would be useless. He walked forward aimlessly. When he saw a treasure in the corner of his eye, he took a look and walked away. Yi Qinghan spent the entire morning wandering around 2 Street. Apart from primal chaos beasts, he did not discover anything else. Yi Qinghan was preparing to return to the gathering place of the martial god city's people. However, just as he turned around, he felt a frightening battle intent surrounding him, continuously rising. Yi Qinghan looked up and saw a young man about his age. He was wearing a battle robe and holding a chaos divine sword. It was definitely a master god weapon. He was tall and about 2 meters. His strong face revealed his battle intent. The aura around him was very strong. It was the aura of an invincible king. That kind of confidence came from his soul. It could not be suppressed. One look and one could tell that he was a top-notch expert. Xian Yuan. Yi Qinghan stared at the embroidered word on the young man's left shoulder. It was written with the word Xian Yuan. He is Xian Yuan Lu from the Xian Yuan tribe. Yi Qinghan quickly reacted. People of this level were rare. It was already good enough for a tribe to have one of them. Jiang Jingtian, you are finally willing to come out. I want to see how much you have improved over the past 10 years. Xian Yuan Lu could not wait to issue a challenge. Chapter 10-14. Xian Yuan Lu stared at Yi Qinghan. He held the divine sword in his hand and blocked Yi Qinghan's path, not allowing him to leave. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched. He did not expect what he was afraid of to happen. Without divine power, it was impossible to compete with people of this level. Therefore, he ignored Xian Yuan Lu and walked past him. Xian Yuan Lu was not willing to give up. He moved again to block Yi Qinghan. A good dog does not block the way. Go away and play. The little money grubber angrily scolded. It knew Yi Qinghan the best. He was not Jiang Jingtian. He did not even have divine power. He was not a genius at all. He was just a piece of trash. Xian Yuan Lu was not angry. He looked at the little money grubber coldly. It was so scared that it quickly shut up. However, the chaos beast bared its teeth and was extremely violent. Jiang Jingtian, you don't dare to fight? Or have you exhausted your talents and your cultivation has stagnated? Xianyuan Lu asked coldly. I am not interested in fighting with you. Go away. Yi Qinghan forced his way through. He pushed Xianyuan Lu back a few steps and left without looking back. Xianyuan Lu held the divine sword tightly and stared at Yi Qinghan's back. He coldly snorted and said, It is not up to you whether I am interested or not. Even if you don't fight today, you will still fight 7 days later. I will wait for you. Yi Qinghan strode forward. He was unwilling to say more. The people around pointed at him. They did not expect the strong Jiang Jingtian to be unwilling to accept Xianyuan Lu's challenge. Was it really as Xianyuan Lu said? Jiang Jingtian had exhausted his talents? Or was he so strong that he did not want to fight with the younger generation? Yi Qinghan did not care so much. He quickly returned to the front of the clan elder and said lightly, Senior, help me open the restrictions on this little beast. The clan elder's face was full of surprise. He had seen a lot in this life, but he really could not recognize the origin of this chaos beast. However, he felt that it looked familiar. He could not help but ask, What kind of beast is this? Where did you get it? Yi Qinghan did not understand the origins of the chaos beast. This little beast was clearly a cub, and its abilities had not been revealed yet. He did not dare to tell the clan elder, so he explained, I don't know its origins either. I just thought that it looked good, so I exchanged it with someone who called himself Uncle Yen. Although the clan elder hesitated for a moment, he still helped Yi Qinghan remove the restrictions on the chaos beast. The restrictions on the chaos beast's body had been removed. When it returned to Yi Qinghan's hands, it suddenly growled and looked at the clan elder warily. It avoided his gaze and looked at Yi Qinghan. It wanted to take the chance to escape. Yi Qinghan snorted coldly, If you dare to run, I'll break your legs. Good girl, don't run. I'll protect you. No one will bully you. The little money grubber stretched out its little paw and patted the chaos beast's head. However, the chaos beast slapped its paw away. The chaos beast's bloodline was as noble as the chaos dragon's. Its dignity was not to be sullied. Its intelligence was also not something that normal beasts could compare to. It knew that it would be dangerous to run now, so it gave up on the idea. This little beast. The clan elder frowned. He tried to recall the 10,000 beast records, but there was no record of this beast. There were only rumors about the chaos beast. No one had seen it before. Perhaps the supreme gods had seen it, but they obviously would not record it. No one knew how the little money grubber recognized the chaos beast. Perhaps the spirit-devouring divine parrot's origins were not simple. Its heritage could be traced back to the beginning of the chaos. Otherwise, it would not have blurted out the identity of the chaos beast. Yi Qinghan smiled but did not say anything. He bid farewell to the clan elder and brought the little beast to an inn. Once they entered the inn, Yi Qinghan asked impatiently, Come, introduce the chaos beast to me. It can communicate with the heavenly Tao and feed on the divine source of chaos. It has no actual abilities when it is a cub, but its speed is faster than the average expert. However, when it reaches adulthood, it can fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. It can pass through any barriers of the universe. It is unstoppable. It can swallow people's soul source from a distance. When it reaches adulthood, it can travel between yin and yang, between life and death, reverse time and space, and command the heavenly Tao. However, when it reaches this level, it will return to the chaos. If it hears the Tao in the morning, it will die in the evening. Yi Qinghan frowned. This little beast was too pitiful. More or less, the little money grubber replied. How can this be? Could it be that its life has come to an end? If it swallows a rare treasure by chance and reduces the time it takes to grow, will it also die in the evening? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. As long as it reaches adulthood, it will be equivalent to a supreme god. However, have you seen a supreme god-level chaos beast? As for why such a divine beast would die, only God knows, the little money grubber explained. The little beast howled a few times. It seemed unwilling to accept such a sad rule. The law of chaos? The little money grubber looked at the little beast howling. It seemed to understand its unwillingness. Yi Qinghan did not understand what the law of chaos was, but he knew that there were many things in this world that he did not understand. There were still many mysteries waiting for him to solve. After thinking for a long time, Yi Qinghan understood that the little beast understood human language. He took off his mask and said to the little beast, "Help me find the chaos divine source, and I will set you free. How about that?" Roar, roar. The little beast bared its teeth and howled. However, it did not know what to say. Yi Qinghan looked at the little money grubber. He wanted it to translate for him. The little money grubber rolled its eyes and said lazily, "It can't say." Yi Qinghan was speechless. This little guy did not even pretend to reject him. "Why are you not willing?" Yi Qinghan asked curiously. Roar, roar. The little beast howled a few more times. The little money grubber continued to translate. Because the chaos divine source is its favorite treasure. It is also looking for it. Yi Qinghan was completely defeated by this glutton. However, he had to make it willingly help him. Otherwise, it would not recognize him as its master. He would not be able to control it. If he let it go, it would run away. In the end, Yi Qinghan had no choice but to tempt it. He first asked the little beast what it liked to eat. Aside from the chaos divine source, it liked to eat human souls. This hobby was a little heavy. It even went against the laws of nature. However, there were many enemies. He could make use of it to help him eliminate some of them. Yi Qinghan described the outside universe in a very interesting way. The souls of the strong martial artists outside were crispy and delicious. They were stronger than the people here. Their souls were purer. Furthermore, there were many people. It was enough for the chaos beast to evolve to adulthood. This was purely to trick the little beast. However, the little beast had just been born. How could it understand such schemes? It was instantly fooled. Following that, the little money grubber followed suit. After a round of persuasion, it said earnestly, "Aren't you tired of eating chaos divine source your whole life? For a change, you can help him get the origin of chaos, just a little bit. After he replaces the origin of chaos with the origin of martial arts, the rest will be yours. This way, he can repair his origin of chaos and recover his combat strength. You can walk out of the abyss world and eat the souls of all the powerhouses of the major races. As for me, I can get my husband. It's the best of three. Why not?" Neither the man nor the bird were good people. Tricking a newly born chaos beast was so easy. The little beast was instantly filled with confidence for its future. In the end, Yi Qinghan promised that when he cultivated to become a supreme god, he would break the law of primal chaos. He would not let the chaos beast be bound by the law of primal chaos. He would not need to listen to the Tao in the morning and die in the evening. At this moment, the little chaos beast was solemnly swearing that it wanted to high-five Yi Qinghan. A simple little beast had embarked on a path of no return. Chapter 10-15. After chatting for a while, the little critter complained about its miserable experience. As it turned out, it had just been born from the primal chaos not long ago. It didn't have any cultivation base. Then, it encountered the Yen tribe hunting and was captured alive. If it wasn't for its intelligence, it would have been killed by Uncle Yen long ago. Yi Qinghan was glad. If it wasn't for the Yen tribe, he wouldn't have gotten the little critter. The little critter could clearly sense the chaos god source mine and the origin of chaos. As long as he had the little critter, he could find the origin of chaos no matter how vague it was. Yi Qinghan finally saw the light. He thought that his life was going to be wasted. He didn't expect that he would be reborn in such a hopeless situation. Yi Qinghan was in a good mood. When he went downstairs, he bumped into the clan elder and the others. He invited them to have a meal together. Although their faces were covered by masks, he could still feel their overflowing auras. Brother Jing Tian, did you find a treasure? Why do I feel that you are so happy? Jiang Jingyun looked up and asked curiously. Ahem, ahem. Yi Qinghan was laughing from the bottom of his heart. This kind of joyful aura was easily perceived by others. He looked up and said, Nothing much. I just comprehended some things. The clan elder smiled but didn't say anything. He seemed to have guessed that Yi Qinghan had found information about the origin of chaos. He said, Congratulations. Thank you, clan elder. Yi Qinghan nodded and replied. There was no need to speak too clearly in the communication between the strong. It was just a matter of telepathy. When you go shopping in the afternoon, bring Jing Yun and Jing Heng with you. I will give them the treasure. When you need it, they can pay for it. The clan elder said calmly. Thank you, clan elder. There is no need. After I get it, I will look for my own opportunities in the abyss world. Yi Qinghan quickly rejected the clan elder's good intentions. Some people's benefits were not easy to take. The clan elder's weathered face shone with glory. There was a smile in his eyes. He said calmly, Some things may never be found again if you miss it. Moreover, we will not take the benefits for free. In the future, if the clan needs it, you will help us without hesitation. Isn't that right? Clearly, the clan elder was expressing goodwill now in order to pave the way for the future. He had already made things so clear. If Yi Qinghan continued to refuse, it would be the same as drawing a clear line between himself and martial God City. It was possible that the clan elder would turn hostile. Yi Qinghan did not refuse and nodded in agreement. After the meal, the patriarch gave the universe ring to Jiang Jingheng. The group once again arrived at the main street. There were at least a dozen streets, and each main street had several smaller paths. Yi Qinghan had spent the entire morning walking around, but he had only managed to walk through 2 streets. One could imagine how many people were gathered here. Yi Qinghan brought Jiang Jingyun and Jiang Jingheng to walk around. His eyes were fixed on the stalls. As long as there was something that moved his heart, he would buy it. However, there were not many things that could catch Yi Qinghan's eye. After searching for half a day, they found an ancient bronze mirror. It was carved with runes and emitted a strong aura of chaos and endless laws. It was soul-stirring. Yi Qinghan squatted down to examine it carefully. However, he could not find any clues. He looked up at the little miser and asked in a low voice, Can you recognize what this mirror is? How can you unleash its power? I'm not a creator. I know everything. This divine bird is only responsible for finding treasures. I only know that this treasure is not bad. If you want to appraise it, you should go to an appraiser, the little miser replied bluntly. Yi Qinghan pursed his lips. He looked at the stall owner and asked, Do you know what weapon this is? How can I activate it? What do I need to exchange for it? The stall owner was an old man with white hair. He had long passed the prime of his life. His old arms were wrinkled like the bark of a withered tree. He pointed at the bronze mirror with his trembling right hand and said, Young man, this should be a giant god weapon. Although it's damaged, its origin is still there. I don't know how to activate it either. You'll have to figure it out slowly. As for the price, I need a half-step Lord-level supreme godly medicine. If you have the divine orchid of enlightenment, young man, why don't you exchange it with me? The divine orchid of enlightenment was produced on Tao Comprehension Mountain in the depths of the abyss. That mountain was extremely dangerous. The creatures on it could cause people to age rapidly and devour people's vitality to nourish themselves. Therefore, very few people could obtain the divine orchid of enlightenment. One divine orchid of enlightenment could be exchanged for more than 10 godly medicines of the same level. This type of godly medicine could help clear one's mind and calm one's soul. It had a miraculous effect when breaking through to the giant god level. Yi Qinghan looked at the Jiang Jingyun siblings and asked, Do you have such a godly medicine? If you do, take it out. Big Brother Jingtian, this is just a defective giant soldier god. The divine orchid of enlightenment is very valuable. You can exchange it for a real giant soldier god. Jiang Jingyun immediately reminded him. Yi Qinghan shook his head and did not speak. He felt that this was not an ordinary giant soldier god. If he wanted to take it, he would have to wait for Jiang Jingheng to search his universe ring. But after a while, Jiang Jingheng said helplessly, Big Brother Jingtian, there is no divine orchid of enlightenment. No one can go up Tao Comprehension Mountain. Only a few people with heaven-defying luck can find the divine orchid of enlightenment nearby. If you can't afford it, then don't buy it. What a disgrace! At this moment, Xianyuan Lu was still lingering. He appeared behind Yi Qinghan and ridiculed him. He hoped to provoke Yi Qinghan to make a move and avenge himself. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and ignored Xianyuan Lu. Instead, he looked at the old man and asked, Besides the divine orchid of enlightenment, can I exchange it for anything else? The old man shook his head and smiled bitterly. This old man is about to turn into the Tao. Besides the divine orchid of enlightenment or life-prolonging elixirs, everything else is useless to me. I have a stalk of time grass here. It can extend the lifespan of a person who has reached the end of his life by 300 years. You can do a lot of things in these 300 years. Give me this bronze mirror. Xianyuan Lu said proudly. The old man was immediately delighted. He was already very satisfied to be able to exchange it for a divine elixir that could extend his lifespan for 300 years. To exchange it for the divine orchid of enlightenment was simply asking for too much. He was about to agree, but at this moment, the little money grubber could not stand it anymore. It could lose anything but face, not to mention that it was the spirit-devouring god parrot that was known as a treasure hunter. You idiot! You want to compare treasures with this divine bird? You must be blind. I can use the divine orchid of enlightenment to smash you to death. The little money grubber was no longer a money grubber at this moment. It stretched out its little claw and took out a sky-blue orchid. It exuded a divine charm that made people feel refreshed. It was the divine orchid of enlightenment. Yi Qinghan looked at the divine orchid of enlightenment and could not help but secretly nod. This thing was really a divine elixir that could calm one's mind and comprehend the Tao. It could only be encountered by chance and not sought. The old man was overjoyed, but Xianyuan Lu was somewhat angry. He flew into a rage out of humiliation and stared at Yi Qinghan. His fighting spirit was getting stronger and stronger. Yi Qinghan handed the divine orchid of enlightenment to the old man. He took the bronze mirror and let the little money grubber keep it. He turned around and walked away. He did not even bother to look at Xianyuan Lu. Jiang Jingtian, you are too arrogant. That year, you were only slightly better than me. What qualifications do you have to be so presumptuous in front of me? If you have the guts, compete with me again in public today. If I lose again, you can do whatever you want with me. Xianyuan Lu roared angrily. Chapter 10:16. Xianyuan Lu's anger could not be suppressed. He directly locked onto Yi Qinghan, the sword in his hand ready to be unsheathed. Yi Qinghan's figure froze, because he felt the murderous intent. If he took one more step forward, Xianyuan Lu would definitely dare to draw his sword and kill him. Slowly turning around, he looked straight at Xianyuan Lu with cold eyes and said hoarsely, I'm not interested in fighting with you for the time being. I'll satisfy you next time we meet. If you're bored, go play somewhere else. I don't have time to play with you. Next time? When is the next time? Don't tell me it's going to be 10 years in a flash. Xianyuan Lu angrily questioned. Yi Qinghan's fingertips trembled, and he said indifferently, half a year if fast, 2 years if slow. I'll wait here for you. I can't wait. Pick a day just this time. If you don't fight today, I'll definitely teach you a lesson in 7 days. Xianyuan Lu threatened sternly. Yi Qinghan shook his head. There was nothing to talk about with such a utilitarian person. He lazily said, "Since you don't want to wait, we'll talk about it in 7 days." After saying that, Yi Qinghan continued to go deeper. Jiang Jingheng and Jiang Jingyun were somewhat unwilling. They glared fiercely at Xianyuan Lu, then caught up with Yi Qinghan's pace and asked unwillingly, "Brother Jingtian, why don't you teach this arrogant guy a lesson? In the past 10 years when you weren't at home," he almost raised his head to the sky, "he often let his Xianyuan tribe's disciples bully our martial God City's people." Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. If he had divine power, would he allow others to clamor behind his butt? He would have slapped him into a ditch long ago. He continued on to the other streets and purchased several chaos sacred herbs, all of which were main god-level supreme treasures. He would be able to use them in the later stages of the game. However, before he could even finish a single street, Yan Zhenfeng of the Yan clan led several experts of the younger generation to surround him. They taunted him with words and provoked him with actions. They wanted nothing more than to fight Yi Qinghan, but Yi Qinghan remained unmoved. However, those youths were like ghosts lingering around, even reaching out their hands to Jiang Jingyun. Jiang Jingyun looked at Yi Qinghan with tears in his eyes. How could the domineering Jiang Jingyun watch his sister be humiliated without doing anything? Yi Qinghan could no longer suppress his anger. He glared coldly at the youths, his eyes blazing with anger. One of the reckless young men looked at the fairy-like Jiang Jingyun and swallowed his saliva. He once again stretched out his perverted hand, and this time, it was even more excessive. He actually went to touch Jiang Jingyun's butt. "Humph!" Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. As quick as lightning, he reached out and grabbed the young man's arm right away. With a vicious twist, he broke the young man's arm right away. Crack! Yi Qinghan's arm was like a slithering snake, wrapping itself around the young man's arm and twisting it into a fried dough twist. "Ah!" The young man let out a shrill scream and fell to his knees on the spot. Tears streamed down his face as he wailed, "Ah! Brother Feng, save me!" Bang! Yi Qinghan raised his leg and kicked the young man's chest right away, deforming it. The young man's eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets, and he fainted on the spot. He was a half-step lord after all. If Yi Qinghan had not held back a little at the end, the kick would have crushed him to pieces. If you have the guts, fight me. What kind of hero are you for attacking them?" Yan Zhenfeng said coldly. Crack! Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fists and said hoarsely, "Are you sure you want to fight now?" "That's right. I'm just afraid you won't dare," Yan Zhenfeng said coldly. 7 days later at the arena. "I'll accept it. Come with Xianyuan Lu," Yi Qinghan said coldly. "All right, 7 days it is. I've waited for 10 years. What's 7 days to you?" Yan Zhenfeng sneered. "Take your dog and scram to the side. Don't disturb me again. I don't have a good temper. If you dare to touch Jingyun again, I'll break all your limbs and never let them recover," Yi Qinghan said coldly. Yan Zhenfeng's breath caught. He knew that Yi Qinghan was really angry and did not continue to provoke him. The other young men did not dare to act recklessly either. They left with their unconscious companions with their tails between their legs. Jiang Jingyun wiped her tears and looked pitifully at Yi Qinghan. She sobbed, "Brother Jingyun, you must avenge me. Beat up Yan Zhenfeng." Yi Qinghan nodded, but deep down, he was not very confident. After all, having divine power and not having divine power were two different things. "Let's go take a look at the bird-type pharaohs. I need to exchange for a bird." Yi Qinghan had made up his mind to use a bird to make up for his divine power. He just needed the clan elder's help to tame it. The 3 of them arrived at the bird exchange area. Many powerful birds were close to the level of a giant god. However, they were violent and difficult to tame. However, half-step lord-level birds clearly could not keep up with Yi Qinghan's pace. His target was a giant god. After searching for about half an hour, Yi Qinghan found a fire phoenix. It was extremely violent. Although it was suppressed and sealed, the temperature of its body could still burn a half-step lord level. It was hard to imagine how terrifying it would be when it was not suppressed. This is it. Yi Qinghan had made up his mind. The fire phoenix's attributes were exactly the same as his. Once he tamed it, it would be a powerful assistant that could make up for his lack of divine power. Yi Qinghan stepped toward the fire phoenix and stared at a middle-aged giant god. He said in a hoarse voice, "What do you want in exchange for this fire phoenix? Jiang Jingtian? Don't you already have the divine beast Qilin? Do you still need something like this?" The middle-aged man asked curiously. Yi Qinghan did not know how to address him, nor did he dare to address him casually. He pretended to be aloof as he said, "I need a bird. This one's not bad. Why don't you name a price? I'll trade if it's suitable." A giant god-level bird fire phoenix with the bloodline of the divine phoenix. Its bloodline is very high. Although it's not as good as a Qilin, it's not something that ordinary divine beasts can compare to. You're a genius, so I'll give you a discount. I need a complete set of Chaos-era great divine power. Moreover, it's an offensive one. The burly man was firm. Clearly, this was a low price, but it was also a high price. Great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger? Yi Qinghan asked indifferently. He had already memorized this divine power. Although it was not the only copy, it was still very valuable. The burly man's eyes lit up. The great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger was one of the most powerful divine powers in the Chaos era. He immediately said happily, "No problem. It's not the only copy. I'll copy it for you tonight." Yi Qinghan said plainly, "Ha, I believe in the name Jiang Jingtian. I can wait. You can take the fire phoenix first." The burly man said straightforwardly. Yi Qinghan did not stand on ceremony. The fire phoenix was 30 to 40 feet long and 10 feet wide even before it spread its wings. It was filled with scorching heat. Ordinary people could not even get close to it. Yi Qinghan actually stretched out his hand and lifted it up. Jiang Jingyun and Jiang Jingheng were dumbfounded. They did not dare to get close and could only follow from afar. Chapter 10:17. Yi Qinghan carried the fire phoenix to the clan elder's side. He took a brush, ink, and parchment and left the central city. He entered a deep mountain alone. Boom! Yi Qinghan did not stand on ceremony as he threw the fire phoenix into the valley. "Little money grubber, I'll leave it to you. It's best if it surrenders. If it doesn't, I'll break its bones one by one," Yi Qinghan said coldly. The little money grubber shuddered. It could tell that Yi Qinghan was serious. The fire phoenix had a fiery temper. If it wasn't restrained, it would have gone crazy. Leave this to me. I'll see if I can convince it." The little money grubber laughed bitterly. Following which, the little money grubber and the little chaos beast rushed towards the fire phoenix. They roared at each other to scare it. The beast language was hard to understand, so Yi Qinghan did not care. He started to write the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. Yi Qinghan had already memorized this sacred art. With a wave of his hand, the bold words were like dragons flying and phoenixes dancing. The words were filled with the mysteries of the laws. It was as if they were alive and appeared on the paper. Swoosh! Swoosh! The great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger had a total of 9 stages. Each stage contained a terrifying offensive sacred art. In 2 hours, Yi Qinghan had simulated 2 stages of the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. When he was writing, it was equivalent to revising the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. He could even deepen his understanding of it. Many details that he had not discovered before were once again active in his mind. The more he wrote, the more his mental energy was consumed. Yi Qinghan's forehead was covered in sweat. It flowed down his temples and onto his shoulders. At this moment, his mind was only occupied with the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. The little money grubber and the fire phoenix's roars did not affect him at all. The azure steed flashed like a bolt of lightning and then left. As the night gradually darkened, Yi Qinghan put down his brush and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. There were a total of 9 full sheets of parchment, and the words were like the work of the god. Every stroke represented a part of Yi Qinghan's understanding. This unique copy was not much inferior to the original copy of the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. Rolling up the parchment, Yi Qinghan turned to look at the fire phoenix, the little money grubber, and the chaos beast. He realized that they were still roaring and communicating with each other. It seemed that the fire phoenix was still unwilling to submit. Yi Qinghan stepped towards Huafeng and asked coldly, "Are you still unwilling to submit? This fellow is so stubborn. He talks about how noble his bloodline is. How can he submit to the human race?" The little money grubber tried his best to persuade him. His mouth was dry and he felt helpless. Noble bloodline? Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a sinister smile as he said hoarsely, "Ask it if it's more important to have a noble bloodline, or if it's more tragic to die without a burial." The little money grubber murmured, not knowing how to continue the conversation. "You're just a fire phoenix. Your bloodline is not even 1/10 of the godly phoenix. If I had not temporarily lost my god power, I would not even be interested in you." Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and looked disdainfully at the fire phoenix. His eyes under the Qilin mask were filled with an irresistible will. The giant dragon bloodline was awakened. The giant dragon's strength and the godly dragon's aura roared out and pressed towards Huafeng. His will contained the power of heaven and earth and easily suppressed Huafeng's arrogance. Screech! Huafeng wailed as if he had seen the giant dragon's aura. The giant dragon and the godly phoenix had the same bloodline. How could Huafeng resist? Yi Qinghan lost his good temper. It would be best if he could tame this creature. If not, he could just kill it on the spot to avoid wasting time. "I'll give you 10 breaths of time to consider. If you don't submit, I'll break your bones one by one and shatter your demon core. I'll change to another bird to help me." Yi Qinghan scolded sternly. He first used the club and then said, "As long as you're willing to submit and help me win 2 battles in 7 days, I'll grant you your freedom." Huafeng continued to wail. It wanted to submit, but its arrogant head was still unwilling to lower. It was just short of the last club. Boom! Yi Qinghan continued to step forward and closed in on Huafeng. A cold aura enveloped Huafeng. "One!" Yi Qinghan's low voice rang out. It was as if a sudden clap of thunder had struck Huafeng's heart, causing its expression to change. 2! Screech! Huafeng seemed to have been humiliated. The temperature of the fire phoenix's body became even more violent. It was as if it wanted to break through the shackles and break through the suppression. 3! Yi Qinghan didn't care. This kind of temperature couldn't hurt him at all. He continued to count, counting with each step. When he counted to 6, Huafeng's temper was finally suppressed. Yi Qinghan's aura were too terrifying. When Yi Qinghan counted to 7, Huafeng slowly lowered its head. It no longer had the courage to resist because Yi Qinghan was already less than 3 meters away from it. 8! Yi Qinghan's voice was like a sudden clap of thunder, shaking the valley. His voice echoed throughout the valley as he continuously attacked Huafeng. Screech! Huafeng crouched down. It let out a mournful cry and respectfully lowered its head. The little money grubber couldn't help but be angry. This fellow had made her mouth dry and her tongue dry, but she still couldn't convince it. Now it was being threatened by Yi Qinghan and submitted. She angrily scolded, "You're really despicable. I've treated you so well, but you still can't convince me. You're really despicable. If I don't slap you a few times, you won't know how to feel." Roar, roar, roar. The little chaos beast looked at Huafeng with disdain. However, Huafeng ignored the two divine beasts' disdain because its head was already on the ground. It didn't dare to raise its head. Yi Qinghan looked at Huafeng's submission and coldly snorted, "You won't regret following me. In terms of bloodline, I'm 10 times better than you. It's your honor to be my mount. In a few days, you'll take the initiative to follow me. I might not even want you." The more disdainful and arrogant Yi Qinghan was, the more the Huafeng didn't dare to be arrogant. Screech, screech, screech. Huafeng's mournful cries continued. Yi Qinghan carried it and walked towards Central City. Yi Qinghan had never cared about taming technique. This kind of trash would submit after a few beatings and be tamed. If he couldn't tame it, he would directly kill it. This was the most violent way of taming. It was also the most disdainful way of taming beasts. They had special techniques that could make beasts follow them willingly without any resentment. Only this way could they support each other for a long time. Pervert. The Chaos Beast and the little money grubber looked at Yi Qinghan's back and cursed. Then, they chased after him. Central City was still bustling with activity. Those people didn't rest and were still trading. However, the sky was dark and the aura of chaos was everywhere. If they didn't close soon, they wouldn't even be able to see their own fingers. Many people had already started to pack their things and prepare to stay in the inns. Yi Qinghan threw Huafeng to the clan elder. Then, he took the parchment and went to the big man's side. "Please take a look. The complete, great, desolate, imprisoning heavenly finger. There are no changes or omissions." Yi Qinghan handed the parchment to the big man. Then, he took 2 steps back and stared at the big man. After confirming that the transaction was complete, they didn't owe each other anything. Ha ha ha. As expected of Jiang Jingtian. I'm impressed. Just based on the profound laws contained in this word, it's enough to prove its value. The big man said straightforwardly. Yi Qinghan nodded and turned to leave. When he found the clan elder, he said respectfully, "Clan elder, please help me undo its seal again." The clan elder frowned and reminded him in a low voice, "A giant god-level Huafeng is very difficult to tame. If you undo its seal without taming it, it could easily injure others." Chapter 10:18. The clan elder knew that this fire phoenix had not been tamed and was very dangerous. Even if he was around, it would still hurt many people. Yi Qinghan knew that it was normal for the clan elder to be worried, so he said, "It has already been tamed by me. Clan elder, you don't have to worry. Just release it." The clan elder was stunned. He knew that Yi Qinghan was not Jiang Jingtian. How could he tame such a ferocious bird in such a short time? "How did you tame it?" the clan elder asked, dumbfounded. "I just had a good discussion with it. It is very intelligent, so it was very willing to cooperate with me," Yi Qinghan said calmly. "Good discussion?" The little money grubber and the little chaos beast looked at him with disdain and sneers. How could that be considered good discussion? It was simply violence with words and intimidation. There were very few ferocious beasts that could not be frightened, let alone this kind of intelligent and noble bloodline. The clan elder was speechless. If this kind of bird was a divine beast that could be negotiated with words, why would there be a need for beast tamers? Jiang Jingheng and Jiang Jingyun also looked at Yi Qinghan suspiciously. However, it was hard to tell what they were thinking because of their mask. It was obvious that they were suspicious of Yi Qinghan's methods. Yi Qinghan shrugged and said hoarsely, "If you don't believe me, you can ask the fire phoenix. Did I hit it?" Before the clan elder could say anything, the fire phoenix hurriedly shook its head. It did not want to admit that it was scared into submission. Otherwise, it would lose all its face. The fire phoenix shook its head repeatedly and rubbed itself against Yi Qinghan's long legs with a covetous look. It almost knelt down and licked them. Shameless! The little money grubber groaned in dissatisfaction. This thing was a disgrace to all divine beasts. All right. The clan elder compromised and brought the fire phoenix to an open space. He gestured for Jiang Jingheng and his sister to stay away from this place and cast a spell to open the restriction. However, he was very vigilant, afraid that the fire phoenix would suddenly attack them. Once the seal was opened, the fire phoenix revealed its ferocious look. The clan elder's aura immediately exploded, trying to suppress the fire phoenix. "Try it if you dare." Yi Qinghan dashed to the fire phoenix's side, ignoring the terrifying heat. He reached out and pressed his hand on its wings, threatening it coldly. The flame phoenix trembled and didn't dare to act rashly. The flames on its body began to slowly fade away. It was only now that the clan elder understood what Yi Qinghan meant by "discuss it properly." He couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. Perhaps only such a domineering monster could tame a divine beast in such a manner. Imprint into the body. Yi Qinghan's aura was ice-cold as he reprimanded coldly. The fire phoenix didn't dare to go against his will. It transformed into a wisp of flame and imprinted itself onto Yi Qinghan's left wrist. It was like a real fire phoenix, vivid and lifelike. Flames continued to burn on his left arm, but it couldn't harm Yi Qinghan in the slightest. The clan elder was completely speechless. Jiang Jingheng and Jiang Jingyun were dumbfounded. They thought to themselves, perhaps only Big Brother Jing Tian can tame a divine beast in such a manner. Yi Qinghan put away the fire phoenix and let out a breath of foul air. He was glad that the fire phoenix was smart. Otherwise, he would have really killed a divine beast today. "I heard that you accepted Yan Zhenfeng and Xin Yuan Lu's challenge. Are you confident?" The clan elder hesitated for a moment before asking kindly. "I don't know. Those two are indeed very strong. Let's see if the fire phoenix can provide me with enough divine power and speed." Yi Qinghan sighed. He was afraid that the fire phoenix wouldn't be able to keep up with his pace. If it could keep up, he would definitely be able to defeat the two of them. If it couldn't, then it would be dangerous. If you really can't do it, then just admit defeat. Our clan can only look forward to the next generation. This generation is really suppressed. The clan elder said helplessly. Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a cold smile. He didn't say anything else. Everything would have to wait 7 days. Admit defeat? There was no such word in his dictionary. Back then, even the 4 great battle constitutions couldn't kill him. Not to mention the top geniuses of 2 tribes. No matter how strong they were, it was impossible for them to kill him. That night, Yi Qinghan returned to his room to rest. He didn't think about anything and slept until dawn. He was in a very good state. However, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, Li Feng and the others were in a more miserable state. If it weren't for Dong Qin, the Celestial Treasure Combat Constitution, who had the ability to avoid harm, the 4 of them would have been swallowed whole long ago. However, the fighting these past few days had allowed them to improve by leaps and bounds. In particular, Dong Qin's ability to find treasures put even the divine bird to shame. Treasures would appear wherever she went. Half-step Lord-level chaos holy herbs were everywhere. Li Feng and Zixian were in no hurry to break through to giant god level. Instead, they trained hard at half-step Lord level, completely controlling their levels at peak half-step Lord level. If there were signs of a breakthrough, they would forcefully suppress it. They wanted to establish a firm foothold at half-step Lord level. If Zixian wanted to break through to Supreme God level, the half-step Lord level was the most important. It was even more important for Li Feng to surpass his battle constitution. However, Bai Yelu had improved quite a bit as well. Only in the abyss did he realize that although his cultivation base had not been demoted to Lord level, his cultivation base was definitely at the bottom of the giant gods in the Chaos era. The 4 of them supported each other. They dared not let their guard down, nor would they give up on anyone. They could only be reborn in this hopeless situation if the 4 of them worked together. Li Feng and the others arrived at a valley. Their clothes were tattered, and they cut a sorry figure. They were exhausted. When they took out their life cards, they discovered that Yi Qinghan was still alive. They could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Let's hope he can hold on until we meet up. Zixuan was anxious as well. He was afraid that something had happened to Yi Qinghan. After all, without godhood, he was like a baby. He was too weak. Good people don't live long, but scourges live for thousands of years. This guy is not a good person. I don't think he will die. Dong Qin snorted. Bai Yelu did not understand Yi Qinghan, but he knew that he was a sentimental person. He regretted his previous actions. If he had not used that sword, Yi Qinghan would not have died. They might have been able to fly together. If the myriad law domain and the insane sect joined forces, they would be like the sun in the sky. It was a pity that he missed such a great opportunity. Li Feng had to admit that Yi Qinghan was indeed not a good person. He felt that nothing would happen to Yi Qinghan, so he put away his life card, patted the mud and blood stains off his body, and said in a deep voice, "It's too dangerous here. Now that we're deep into the mountain range, it will be even more dangerous. We have to maintain our peak condition at all times." The other three did not decline. They sat cross-legged on the ground and swallowed chaotic sacred medicines. They were all healing saint treasures that melted in their mouth. Their limbs and bones were filled with godhood, and their injuries quickly healed. Their condition was rapidly recovering. Bai Yelu was the fastest to recover. In the end, it was Li Feng's turn to recuperate while he defended. Looking at the misty mountain range, he said inwardly, "I really didn't understand back then. It was you who made me understand. As long as I find you this time, I will definitely repay you." Bai Yelu knew that he was wrong. The shackles on his Tao heart were gradually being unlocked. Perhaps it was an opportunity that had arrived. His heart was as clear as a mirror. His consciousness swooped down to the clouds, comprehending this chaotic world. His cultivation base improved by leaps and bounds, and his understanding of the myriad law great Tao deepened. Chapter 10-19. Time flew by quickly. There were only 6 days left for the transaction. Yi Qinghan brought the little money grubber, Jiang Jingheng, and Jiang Qinghan to various streets in search of true treasures. They were only looking for chaos giant god-level sacred herbs. Of course, they were also looking for sacred herbs that were half-step to Lord level and could help them break through to the giant god level. This was because there were so many juniors and seniors in the savage sect who needed to advance. Even if they could not advance, they had to be made into peerless existences below the giant god level. The clan elder was willing to spend a lot of money to express his goodwill, so Yi Qinghan did not stand on ceremony. It was not good to be polite at this time. After searching for 5 days, there was only 1 day left before the 7th day. Yi Qinghan began to ponder, trying to figure out how he could win without exposing his identity. Once he did, not only would he be in trouble, but he would also implicate Martial God City. The beast tamers were extremely xenophobic. They had formed a world of their own and were completely separated from the outside world. Even if they didn't have any grudges, they still had xenophobic thoughts. If Yi Qinghan hadn't revealed his dragon bloodline, Martial God City probably wouldn't have taken him in. Although the beast tamers trained beasts for a living, they respected and revered the chaos divine beasts, especially the giant dragon, Qilin, phoenix, white tiger, vermilion bird, godly phoenix, and other sacred beasts. In their eyes, these divine beasts were gifts from the heavens. They could not be offended. They could support each other, but they could never enslave them. On the last day, Yi Qinghan did not go out. Instead, he was thinking about how to summon Berserk. Without divine power, there had to be other ways. This was a natal divine weapon. How could he not control a divine weapon that was constantly nurtured with his own flesh and blood because of the lack of divine power? Yi Qinghan frowned and leaned on the bed. His mask was taken off, and there was a touch of determination on his vigorous face. His deep eyes were more dazzling than the stars. Little money grubber, do you know how to summon a natal divine weapon when the origin of martial arts has collapsed? Yi Qinghan tried countless methods, but he was still unable to summon berserk. He couldn't help but curiously look at the little money grubber lying beside the little critter. This kind of creature was unfathomable, its bloodline seemed to be even purer than the divine bird. Presumably, it also knew more than the divine bird. I'm only in charge of finding treasures. Don't ask me about these messy things. Also, people who have their martial arts source destroyed have all committed suicide. No one will have a body as abnormal as yours. Once your martial arts source is destroyed, it's equivalent to your entire body being destroyed. So what if you have a natal divine weapon? In the end, he still couldn't defeat a lower worshipper who could fly. Therefore, no one will give you an answer for this kind of thing. The little money grubber said lazily. The little chaos beast also kicked its short legs, indicating that it didn't know. Yi Qinghan sighed. Heroes had no place to display their prowess, so it seemed like he could only use his fists. Since he couldn't use Zhuangquang, he might as well give up. He turned to look out the window and suddenly froze. Outside the window, a vast expanse of white snow suddenly fell from the sky. The entire chaotic abyss was no longer dark, but filled with a silvery white color. It's snowing. Ah! Shrill screams expressed excitement and joy, as if it had never snowed in the chaotic abyss before. Oh my God! What did I just see? It's actually snow. Jiang Jingyun's excited screams came from outside the inn, and the sound of her soft panting could be heard incessantly. Yi Qinghan got up and looked at the snowy world from the window. He was also rather curious. This snow came too strangely. The ground was covered in white snow, and the ancient trees were bent over from the pressure. The houses were covered in snow, and the people on the streets were cheering. It seemed like they had never seen snow in their lives. The world was no longer gray. Jiang Jingyun and many other girls were dancing in the snow like fairies. They stepped on the snow without leaving any traces. Their graceful dance was magnificent, as if fairies had descended. The snowflakes fluttered in the wind, whistling in the north, and whooshing. However, when Yi Qinghan looked at the clan elder and some other old men in the distance, he realized that there was no joy on their faces. Instead, there was a serious look on their faces. He guessed that this snow was not something good, but something bad. Yi Qinghan walked out of the inn and came to the clan elder's side. He asked in a low voice, "Clan elder, what's going on with this snow? Why is there no sign at all?" "I don't know, but there was once a snowstorm in history. After the snowstorm, there was a beast tide. My beast-tamer lineage's 3 factions were almost wiped out. Many people have forgotten about this incident. I was still very young at that time, and I can still vaguely remember that hellish scene," the clan elder said in a dignified voice. "In order to give hope to the future generations, my beast-tamer lineage did not record this incident. They only passed it down orally to the next clan elder. They even hoped that it was a coincidence, but I know that it was not a coincidence. Everyone in my generation knows that this time, my beast-tamer lineage is about to face a great calamity again." Yi Qinghan's brows trembled. He did not expect the primal chaos world to be so dangerous. With the 3 factions working together, as long as the supreme god did not appear, they could probably wipe out any shaman race or demon god mountain. Yet, they could not stop the beast tide. "How long will this snow last?" Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice. "In a month, the snow will seal off the mountain. After that, my clan will be in danger." The clan elder sighed. At this point, Yi Qinghan did not want to stay here any longer. He did not have any godly power, so staying here would not be of any use. It would be better for him to search for the primal chaos origin. Perhaps he could change the situation, or at the very least, save his own life. "Senior, I want to leave this place," Yi Qinghan said without hesitation. The clan elder looked at Yi Qinghan. After a long time, he said in a hoarse voice, "Go. It will be the same no matter where you are in a month." Yi Qinghan bowed and cupped his fist. "Senior, if I find the primal chaos origin in a month, I will definitely return to repay this great kindness. If I cannot find it, then there is nothing I can do." The clan elder looked deeply at Yi Qinghan and nodded solemnly. He said in a hoarse voice, "It does not matter if you return or not. These words are enough to prove that this old man did not misjudge you. You may leave." Yi Qinghan took advantage of the chaos to leave the central city with the little money grubber and the little beast. Everyone was attracted by the snow and did not notice Yi Qinghan's departure. After leaving the central city, Yi Qinghan spread his wings and flew high into the sky. He danced in the snow and traveled 1,000 miles in an instant, heading straight for the depths of the primal chaos world. According to my memories, this happened once an epoch ago. After the snow sealed off the mountain, all the beasts were enraged. They trampled the sky and fell into a frenzy. It affected the emotions of 99% of the beasts. Very few creatures were able to remain unaffected. The little money grubber was somewhat serious. It was obvious how chaotic the world would be in a month's time. "Little beast, increase my speed. Strive to find the source of the primal chaos in a month's time," Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. The little chaos beast did not hesitate. It merged with Yi Qinghan's body and soul. The primal chaos world was actually so clear. Its speed suddenly increased by more than a few times. Only an afterimage could be seen in the sky. It had already disappeared. However, the direction it was speeding in was completely opposite to the direction Li Feng was at. The distance between them was getting farther and farther. Li Feng, who was hundreds of thousands of miles away, noticed the problem. He looked at the life plate and said doubtfully, "This fellow's source has been repaired? How can its speed be so fast?" Yi Qinghan was extremely anxious. A month's time was too short to find the source of the primal chaos world. There was no room for carelessness. Without divine power, he could only wait for death when the fire phoenix and the little beast became violent. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Yi Qinghan flew in the sky and burrowed into the ground. Under the guidance of the divine bird, he continued to go deeper and deeper. Finally, before the sky turned dark, he entered the depths of the primal chaos abyss world. The surrounding 10,000 miles was filled with primal chaos. It was dusky and countless divine herbs were growing luxuriantly. Even an ordinary beast was several times stronger and faster than an ordinary expert of the same level. It was not something a human could contend against. Chapter 10:20. Boom. Yi Qinghan descended from the sky with an imposing aura. The surrounding beasts fled in disorder, stirring up waves of snow. Swoosh. The fiery phoenix retracted its wings and returned to its imprint. Yi Qinghan stepped firmly into the depth. The little beast squeaked and took the lead to charge out in search of the divine source or vein. Yi Qinghan stepped on a pile of snow and moved as fast as lightning. He teleported and appeared amidst the snowstorm, shattering everything in his path with a single punch. Yi Qinghan faced the cold snow. He was only wearing a beast robe, but he didn't feel the bone-piercing cold wind. On the contrary, he felt his blood boiling. Whether or not he could restore his origin depended on this day. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yi Qinghan sped along, breathing steadily. The little money grubber's eyes drooped as it lay on his shoulder. The cold temperature made it unable to muster any strength. As he went deeper, he saw tall mountains and precipitous ridges. It was heavy and dignified. There weren't many traces of human activity. Most of the creatures here were seeing humans for the first time. They roared angrily, their fangs piercing through the void. They wanted to devour Yi Qinghan's vigorous blood energy. Thump! Yi Qinghan swung his iron fists and directly smashed the incoming beast. He was incomparably ferocious. Some of the beasts' heads were smashed into mush, while some of the birds' wings were torn off. Everywhere he passed, the snow was dyed red with broken limbs. It was a scene from hell. The deeper he went, the more savage and powerful the beasts became. Gradually, he encountered creatures that were difficult to deal with. However, Yi Qinghan was still strong. He summoned the fiery phoenix's wings to provide divine power, allowing the god-slaying eagle to recover from its injuries and maintain its condition. This was to save his life, so he wouldn't use it unless necessary. Whoosh! The fiery phoenix flapped its wings in the sky, incinerating the snow and turning it into a downpour, which was then evaporated by the terrifying heat. Roar! A ferocious black bear charged through the air. Its sharp claws turned into cold beams as it tore through the void. It leapt hundreds of meters high and thousands of meters in front of Yi Qinghan. The ancient trees were turned into fine powder as a giant palm appeared in front of Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan snorted in disdain. His dragon blood surged as he unleashed an unstoppable punch toward the bare paw. Even the void was distorted. Boom! Boom! The giant bear was extraordinarily strong. It was the darling of the earth, and each of its paws could shatter the body of a giant god powerhouse. But against Yi Qinghan, it couldn't control the situation at all, nor did it have any advantage. Yi Qinghan became more and more courageous as he fought. The power of his bloodline roared, and the shadow of a giant dragon roared into the sky. Step by step, he closed in on the giant bear and sent it flying hundreds of meters. Boom! Yi Qinghan transformed into a rainbow arrow and crashed into the giant bear's head. This was the first time the giant bear had been forced back by such a violent punch. Seeing Yi Qinghan rushing towards it, it turned and fled, not daring to resist. Bang! Yi Qinghan's punch missed. He turned around and kicked the black bear's butt. Howl, roar! The giant bear cried out miserably. Its body, which weighed several tons, shot into the sky like a cannonball. It could be seen just how powerful Yi Qinghan's kick was. Its tailbone had almost been shattered by Yi Qinghan's kick. Even if it didn't die from the kick, it would still be half dead after being kicked so high. Yi Qinghan didn't chase after it. He didn't even want to look at it. He continued to bring the little critter deeper. The little miser opened its eyes slightly and looked at the unlucky giant bear. It couldn't help but sigh. What a beast! Strength is the specialty of the giant bear. Please respect the origin of humans. Only wild beasts can do such violent and barbaric things. Yi Qinghan snorted. His eyes vigilantly scanned the surroundings. Even the slightest fluctuation in the void couldn't escape his eyes. Yi Qinghan's aura grew stronger and stronger. His speed became even faster. He wished he could flip through the entire abyss world in an instant. However, this place was simply too big. Moreover, the laws were heavy and dignified, restricting his speed. It was very difficult for him to display his true speed and strength. As he continued to go deeper, a flood dragon the size of an azure dragon appeared. It was covered in scales and twisted its body. Its ferocious mouth spewed out a vicious smell that could make living creatures dizzy. It could directly devour them until not even their bones remained. It blocked Yi Qinghan's path in front of him. Yi Qinghan didn't hold back. He violently threw a punch at the giant python. Flames were even blasted out from his fist. With a flap of his wings, he moved as fast as lightning. Before his fist could reach, his long leg swept out and kicked the giant python's head. Boom! The giant python swung its tail and attacked Yi Qinghan with great force. It was so fast that Yi Qinghan was unable to dodge. Bang! The fist and long leg collided fiercely with the giant tail. The mountain shook and the ground shook. Waves of snow surged into the sky. Yi Qinghan's body was like a rainbow as he retreated rapidly. He flipped a few times in the air before falling to the ground. He retreated dozens of steps and only came to a stop after crashing into an ancient tree. The giant python hissed. It couldn't feel any pain at all. Its huge body only swayed slightly before it charged towards Yi Qinghan again. "You're courting death." Yi Qinghan was incomparably ruthless. He shouted at the little beast, "Fuse with me and increase my speed." Whoosh! The little beast quickly rushed to Yi Qinghan's side and turned into a wisp of imprint, fusing with his soul. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan suddenly disappeared. The void was torn apart. When he reappeared, he happened to be on top of the giant python's head. His long leg kicked horizontally and landed directly on the python's head. Buzz! The giant python only felt a buzzing sound in its head. It lost control and fell backward. Yi Qinghan was unforgiving. He coiled around the giant python's head and waved his iron-like fists, aiming specifically for the giant python's eyeballs. Although the python was covered in scales, it couldn't stop Yi Qinghan's barbaric and tyrannical attacks. Boom, boom, boom. Yi Qinghan's fists were like raindrops. He didn't seem to be tired. The giant python howled in pain and blood spurted out, dyeing its beast robe red. "Forget it. Make it submit and we can speed up." The little money grubber covered its eyes with its wings. It couldn't stand Yi Qinghan's barbaric strength. "Submit?" Yi Qinghan shouted sternly. Hum hum hum. The giant python's head was filled with paste. Its brain matter was about to be smashed out. With its head under control, it couldn't shake off Yi Qinghan no matter how it rolled. It could only howl in pain and submit. Yi Qinghan groaned and shook off the giant python's head. He coldly said, "If you dare to attack me again, I'll rip off all your scales and destroy your 10,000 years of cultivation." The giant python was on the verge of transforming into a dragon. It was very intelligent and didn't dare to resist. It could only lower its head and submit. Yi Qinghan groaned and stepped on the giant python's weak spot. He summoned the little beast and placed it in his palm. He said indifferently, "You lead the way. It's in charge of rushing." The fire phoenix in Yi Qinghan's body bristled. It was glad that it didn't compete with this barbarian. Otherwise, he would really break its bones piece by piece. With the little beast leading the way, the giant python didn't care about its injuries and began to rush towards the depth. Everywhere it passed, it was a mess. Very few creatures came out to intercept it. However, if a vicious creature appeared, it would definitely be a terrifying creature. It was impossible for Yi Qinghan to win even if he wanted to. The depths of the forest covered the sky and the sun. The snow was blocked from the sky. The 10,000 miles of forest was almost crushed. The vicious creatures seemed to have fallen into a deathly stillness. It was actually a vast and empty space. There wasn't even a bird. Apart from the forest, the snow, and the majestic mountain range, there was nothing else. A cold aura came from the depths of the forest. It was extremely dangerous. Yi Qinghan gave up on the giant python in order to not alarm the large vicious creatures. He began to walk alone towards the depths of the mountain. Chapter 10:21. The mountain range was majestic and stretched endlessly. This was the core of the chaotic abyss world. Who knew how many remnant races of the primal chaos were inside, and who knew how many treasures of the primal chaos had yet to be discovered? It was very difficult for humans to enter this place. Even if a clan elder entered, he would probably be besieged before he could reach this place. Not many people would be as barbaric as Yi Qinghan, beating up the giant bear until it screamed and the dragon submitted. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and adjusted his state of mind. Then, he began to walk into the depths of the mountain range. There were more than 100,000 endless mountains. There was no end in sight. This place was no different from the beginning of the primal chaos. No one knew what was at the end of this mountain range and what kind of monsters would walk out. Even if a supreme god appeared, there would be no reason to suspect. It's very dangerous here. Dao Comprehension Mountain is tens of thousands of miles south of here. It belongs to the periphery of the mountain range. Even in the periphery, not many people dare to go up the mountain. the little miser reminded. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, "Don't you have a wide network of connections? Can't you brag?" The little miser roared in a righteous manner. Yi Qinghan was speechless. He really thought that it knew a lot of monsters. Turned out that it was just bragging. "We won't cause trouble. We'll leave once we get the primal chaos source." After Yi Qinghan finished speaking, he directly stepped into the mountain range. He walked along the mountain range. The dusky world concealed his track. He was no longer strong and his aura was restrained. It was very difficult to discover him. As soon as the little chaos beast entered the mountain range, it began to run around happily. It was drooling as if it had smelled the fragrance of the primal chaos source. Yi Qinghan followed the little beast's guidance and quickly moved forward. He discovered many monsters, and the weakest of them was at the level of the dragon. Once he was surrounded, even if he was in peak condition, he would be torn to pieces. Roar! The unknown monsters roared. The mountain range trembled, and the earth rose and fell. Occasionally, they would see monsters fighting each other. Most of them were carnivores and very few were herbivores. A bunch of stupid beasts that can't communicate with me. This divine bird disdains to interact with them. The little moneygrubber's eyes scanned the surroundings. From time to time, it would scurry out and return to Yi Qinghan's shoulder in a flash. Its little claws were clutching stalks of divine medicine, which it then hid away. Yi Qinghan was very puzzled. Where did this fellow hide his items? He clearly did not have any spatial storage items like a universe ring. Creak creak. The little critter suddenly became excited and cried out in a low voice. It began to change its route and galloped toward the southwest. Yi Qinghan followed closely behind. His speed was extremely fast, leaving no traces as he stepped on the snow. The little critter also knew how to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. Right now, its speed was faster than other creatures, but it didn't have any offensive capabilities. It didn't dare to confront those vicious beasts, so it specifically chose a path without vicious beasts. The man and the two beasts quickly went deeper. They had already traveled more than 3,000 miles. In the depths, they could see high-level vicious beasts at any time. Their cultivation was close to that of a giant god, and their numbers were innumerable. Any one of them could fight against a main god. It was no wonder that the beast tamers had been wiped out after the beast tide. If these creatures charged out, most of the primal chaos would probably be occupied. At 4,000 miles, the little critter's speed began to decrease. The snow was getting heavier and heavier, and the vicious beast's tempers were also getting worse. They fought madly, and blood flowed in the depths, washing away the snow. Bones and corpses were everywhere. Yi Qinghan no longer used the fire phoenix, because once it used its divine power, an aura of restlessness would fill its entire body and even affect its own emotions. In front of them, a towering mountain range appeared. The depths were completely dark. Even if snow danced, it could not tear apart the chaotic darkness. The visibility was less than 1,000 meters. Everything was turbid. Yi Qinghan also discovered that even his spiritual power was affected. The little critter stretched out its little claws and pointed at the depths, nodding continuously. The little miser translated, "This is the place. There is a vein of the origin of primal chaos, but it is hard to say where the origin of primal chaos is." The power of primal chaos was surging in midair. Although Yi Qinghan did not have any divine power, he could still feel the surging power of primal chaos. If there was no origin of primal chaos here, he could only continue to go deeper. But if he went deeper without divine power, it would be quite dangerous. It would be good if he could go in alive. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air again. He lowered his body and hid in the depths of the mountain. The little critter's goal was clear. It rushed toward the southwest for more than 100 miles. The sky had completely darkened. The power of primal chaos had almost condensed into a liquid state. It was incomparably viscous. The vicious beasts here were using the power of primal chaos. In terms of power, they were one level higher than humans. The giant gods generally used the giant god's power, which was the main god's power. But they used the power of primal chaos, which was the closest to the primal chaos. Yi Qinghan moved along the mountain range. Occasionally, he would be stared at by vicious beasts. However, he restrained his aura and was like a rock. If any vicious beast sensed him, he would use his dragon's might and use his bloodline power to suppress those vicious beasts. The vicious beasts' bloodline hierarchy was very strict. Giant dragons were considered to be at the top of the food chain. Very few vicious beasts dared to challenge the might of giant dragons. Yi Qinghan's luck could not be said to be heaven-defying. He sped along the way and did not encounter any terrifying vicious beasts or strange races. He successfully arrived at a valley. There were two short mountain peaks emitting dense primal chaos power. Once one approached, one's blood and chi would surge as if they were about to explode. It was completely uncontrollable. Even the vicious beasts did not dare to get too close. It's these two mountain peaks. Yi Qinghan was very sure. There was a top-grade divine source vein here, but it was hard to say if it had formed the origin of primal chaos. The origin of primal chaos was illusory and indistinct. It was very difficult to condense into a ball. Furthermore, it was usually in the depths of a top-grade divine source vein. Bang! Yi Qinghan casually kicked a piece of primal chaos divine source. Gotcha! Yi Qinghan's hands were trembling. That kind of excitement that was filled with hope was inexplicable. He wanted nothing more than to drill into the depths of the earth and dig out the origin of primal chaos. The little money grubber was drooling. He grinned and said, "So many divine sources. How many good things can I exchange for if I take them out?" Yi Qinghan smiled. He also knew that these divine sources were very valuable. However, the most important thing was the origin of primal chaos. Little beast, help me find the origin of primal chaos. Remember our agreement. If you find it, don't eat it. I only need enough to make up for my martial arts origin. The rest is yours. I will also give you many treasures. Yi Qinghan said seriously. Gotcha. The little beast of primal chaos did not care about Yi Qinghan. Its sharp claws easily cut open these primal chaos divine sources and stuffed them into its mouth. Chewed easily and spat out some dregs. The true essence was completely devoured by it. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The little beast of primal chaos kept digging with its sharp claws. Soon, it formed a small tunnel that went straight underground. It was a pity that the tunnel was too small. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan would have wanted to crawl down the tunnel. Now, in order to repair the origin, let alone a tunnel, he would even crawl through a dog hole. Go and follow it. Remind it that if it finds the origin of primal chaos, it must restrain itself. It must not eat it. Yi Qinghan was a little worried. He still let the little money grubber follow it down. Thump thump thump. Yi Qinghan's heart beat faster. He was full of anticipation as he waited for the little beast of primal chaos to return. Chapter 10:22. The little critter was like a mole as it dug with all its might. It dug and ate at the same time. Its speed was extremely fast as it went deep into the mine. The deeper it went, the purer the divine source was. As it dug, the little critter forgot its mission and started to eat. It dug a big hole in the depth. The little critter also dug and picked out the best quality divine source. It completely forgot that Yi Qinghan was still waiting outside. Yi Qinghan was alarmed outside. He was afraid that a super ferocious beast would come, but he had nowhere to hide. In such a big valley there would be some divine beasts that ate divine sources. Large carnivores would not come as the chaotic energy here was too dense. It was not good for living things. Yi Qinghan waited for 2 hours. He did not know that the two strange divine beasts were moving for him. One was eating, the other was picking the best quality divine source to hide. It was already late at night. The snow covered the valley and had already covered Yi Qinghan's knees. But the two divine beasts still did not come out. He could not help but feel anxious. He forcefully broke a stone and threw it into the hole. The hole was vertical, and a response came very quickly. The stone hit the little critter right on the head. It let out a miserable cry. "Who is so inconsiderate? Throwing rubbish!" The little critter roared angrily. Yi Qinghan's heart twitched. It seemed that these two fellows did not dive down at all. They were eating divine sources 100 meters deep. "The two of you better hurry up. It is very dangerous outside," Yi Qinghan roared. The little critter then remembered its mission and hurriedly ordered the little critter to dig down. The little critter was very unwilling. It gave up on the big hole and continued to dig down. After digging for half a night, it finally found the best quality divine source mine. This place was filled with the best quality divine sources. Every piece was of the best quality. The little critter's eyes lit up. Many of them were crystals. There was no need to mine them individually. But it could not take too much from the center. Otherwise, it would collapse. The little critter hurriedly swallowed a few mouthfuls of divine sources. The hole was pitch black and nothing could be seen. The little money grubber took out a blue crystal from who knows where. It was blossoming with radiance. The little critter began to dig with a purpose. It dug as it ate. Very quickly, it dug out a big hole. Suddenly, the little critter cried out excitedly and continued to dig to the left as if it had gone mad. "There's a treasure! Primal chaos divine source!" The little miser also shouted excitedly. Yi Qinghan had goosebumps all over his body. The snowstorm had already submerged his waist and almost buried the cave. In order not to bury the small cave, Yi Qinghan could only block the entrance and let the snow cover him. Roar! With a low roar, the avalanche collapsed. The accumulated snow on the treetops all fell down. Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end. His body was completely submerged in the snow, leaving only his eyes outside. He saw a white tiger mutant appear in the valley. Its huge body was at least 6 meters tall. It was much, much stronger than an ordinary tiger. Its dense high-tier divine aura was vast and mighty. It was even stronger than the fire phoenix. Yi Qinghan did not dare to breathe. Fighting with such a vicious creature would only bode ill. It would also attract other powerful vicious beasts. There would be nowhere to run. The white tiger seemed to have smelled the fragrance, but it was too dark. It also did not know how to search with its divine sense. It could not see Yi Qinghan, who was buried in the snow. The snow was still roaring, and it gradually covered Yi Qinghan's eyes. There was no trace of him. Yi Qinghan withdrew his blood and life force. He was like a cold corpse. There was no smell. He was covered by the snow and had already merged with it. Now, the only thing he was worried about was that the little critter and the little miser would come out. If they angered the white tiger, there would be no place for him to hide. The white tiger kept searching the valley, but it still could not find Yi Qinghan. Roar! The white tiger did not want to leave. It stepped on top of Yi Qinghan, and the small cave was covered by the snow. It had completely lost track of Yi Qinghan. After a full hour, the white tiger left Yi Qinghan's body and left the valley. Yi Qinghan let out a sigh of relief. Even so, he did not dare to move. Sure enough, in less than half an hour, the white tiger came back. However, it was still dead silent. There were no other creatures. It left completely. The snow had already covered the foot of the mountain. It was estimated that in a month, the mountain would be completely sealed. Time was running out. It was already the second day in the mountains. It was the time for the competition of the younger generation in Central City. Xianyuan Lu and Yan Zhenfeng were furious when they learned that Jiang Jingtian had left Central City. "Is there no one left in Martial God City?" That coward dared to make fun of me! A bunch of trash. Jiang Jingtian is the worst. If you don't dare to fight, then don't make promises. Ridiculous! The two tribes directly attacked the people of Martial God City. The heroes were burning with anger, but the clan elder was not angry. He even suppressed the younger generation to not be impulsive. Only he knew that Jiang Jingtian might really be dead, and the Jiang Jingtian they saw was just Yi Qinghan pretending to be him. Jingtian suddenly went out to deal with something. Your clan elder should know that. Kid, don't talk nonsense if you don't know. This old man's temper will not be tolerated forever. The clan elder coldly reprimanded. He went deeper? The Xianyuan and Yen clan elders asked at the same time. The Jiang clan elder nodded. Seeing the snow getting heavier and heavier, his heart sank. He knew that the great calamity was not far away. Xianyuan Lu and Yen Zhenfeng frowned. They did not understand why Jiang Jingtian went deeper. They did not know what it meant to seal the mountain in snow. Humph! I don't care what the reason is. It's only one day. It can't be so coincidental. He's clearly scared. Yen Zhenfeng sneered. That's right. After hiding for 10 years, he disappeared as soon as he appeared. He's just a waste of talent. Xianyuan Lu was also very dissatisfied. The people of the two tribes agreed. They all wanted to take the title of the number 1 beast tamer in their hands. All right. It's very important for Jingtian to do this. It's 10,000 times more important than fighting with you. Now, no one should attack him anymore. The clan elder of the two tribes frowned and reprimanded. Everyone was surprised. They did not understand why the clan elder would speak up for Jiang Jingtian. The competition in the central city was still going on, but there were no more battles between the real elite. However, the anger continued. Xianyuan Lu and Yen Zhenfeng ordered their subordinates to beat the young disciples of the Jiang clan to death at the same time. They did not show any mercy. In terms of fighting power, the brother and sister Jiang Jingheng were not bad. In addition, they practiced the heavenly dragon coiling eagle hands and the principles of Tai Chi they won by a knot. The others all lost. Some of the children were almost crippled. The Jiang clan elder was burning with anger. Jiang Jingheng and Jiang Jingyun were even more furious. They wanted to fight again, but if they continued, they would have to face Xianyuan Lu and Yen Zhenfeng. They were no match for them. They could only give up. Yi Qinghan did not care too much. He was waiting anxiously. He had already been in the mountains for a few days. The little critter was still looking for the primal chaos divinity source. Although it had grasped the general direction, it still needed a lot of time to dig. Moreover, it could not let the top of the mountain collapse. On the 10th day, the snow covered half of the mountain. Yi Qinghan slowly climbed up from the bottom of the snow. He found the small hole according to his memory. He opened the hole and continued to wait for the appearance of the two divine beasts. On the 10th day, the little critter found a mass of dark purple gas. It was condensed into a mass that could not be dispersed. It was filled with the power of the primal chaos divinity source. It showed the essence of all things. The little critter opened its mouth crazily and wanted to swallow it. However, it was stopped by the little money grubber. Roar! The little money grubber roared, reminding the little critter that its target was this thing. If it swallowed the primal chaos divinity source, Yi Qinghan would block the hole. He could catch them and beat them to death. The little critter was not willing to give up. It was drooling. In the end, it had to give up. The little money grubber reached out and hid the primal chaos divinity source. On the way, it forcefully split a part of it. However, the little critter did not notice. After getting the primal chaos divinity source, the little critter rushed up. Chapter 10:23. Thump, 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 thump. The little money grubber might be small, but he was very energetic when he ran. Yi Qinghan was impatient. He crouched at the entrance and suddenly saw darkness. He hurriedly retreated and dodged. Whoosh, the little money grubber was too fast. He couldn't stop himself and fell into the snow pit. Ouch! Bah! The little money grubber's mouth was full of snow. He spat it out. Soon after, the little critter also rushed out, and a lump of meat fiercely fell into the snow pit. Just like the little money grubber, it was also smashed into the snow pit by the little money grubber. After crawling out with great difficulty, it ignored the little money grubber and squeaked loudly at Yi Qinghan as if it was presenting a treasure. Yi Qinghan looked at the two weirdos. He didn't know whether to be happy or sad. He immediately asked, "Have you found the origin of chaos?" Squeak! The little beast kept nodding. It stretched out its little paw and pointed at the little money grubber, indicating that it was in its hand. The little money grubber was smashed into the deep snow pit by the little beast. He pulled his head out and angrily stared at the little beast. He roared, "Don't you look where you're going? Do you want to die by running so fast?" Roar! The little beast didn't give him any face. It bared its teeth and roared back. The little money grubber immediately withered. Just like the divine bird, he hurriedly took out the origin of chaos. It was smaller than before, but it was negligible. The little beast didn't notice it either. Yi Qinghan looked at the fist-sized gas intertwined with each other. It was filled with the profound laws of heaven and earth. It was like an ethereal object from the beginning of chaos. It showed the origin of all things. It was simply a divine object bestowed by the heavens. This is the origin of chaos. Yi Qinghan held the origin of chaos and roared excitedly. His heart was about to jump out of his chest. His fingertips were trembling uncontrollably. Ha 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 ha! I can finally recover my origin. Yi Qinghan laughed. His voice dissipated in the fierce cold wind. The wind messed up his hair, but it didn't affect Yi Qinghan's mood at all. "Little beast, thank you for your hard work. Help me open up the passageway to the mine. I want to enter the depths of the mine to cultivate. Once I recover my origin, I will let you all soar between heaven and earth. No one will dare to stop you." Yi Qinghan was brimming with heroism. He was confident that once he recovered his foundation, he would be able to sweep through 90% of the giant gods in the outside world. Of course, he would still have to run if he had to face someone like the serpent god. But it wouldn't be like before, when he didn't even have a chance to escape. Damn, you ungrateful wretch! Are you thanking it or not? If it wasn't for me, it would have eaten the origin long ago. You wouldn't even have a chance to eat it. The little money grubber started tearing at him on the spot. Roar, roar, roar! The little beast flew into a rage out of humiliation and almost made a move. Yi Qinghan had no choice but to break up the fight. The two fist-sized punks were fighting quite fiercely. Good, good, good. Thank you all. Thank you. Now help me open the passageway. I want to go in and cultivate. The outside world is too dangerous. Yi Qinghan said helplessly as he hid the origin of primal chaos in his bosom. He grabbed the little beast in one hand and the little money grubber in the other. Only then did the little beast and the little money grubber calm down and start digging. They expanded the hole to a size where Yi Qinghan could dive freely. The little beast's digging speed wasn't inferior to the pangolin's. It was just that its claws were a little smaller. It dug and ate at the same time. After digging for an entire night, they finally opened up the passageway that led straight to the center of the depth. Yi Qinghan slid down the hole. The bottom had already been dug out by the little beast and the little money grubber. It was enough for an adult to move freely. Once they reached the depths, Yi Qinghan took out the origin of primal chaos and carefully explored how to replace the origin of primal chaos with the origin of martial arts. No one had any experience. This was something that needed to be explored by oneself. Yi Qinghan first took some of the origin of primal chaos orally. However, once it entered his body, it disappeared. He directly used it to strengthen his physical body. His physical body was strengthened by a lot, but it couldn't replace the origin of martial arts. Since he couldn't take it orally, Yi Qinghan tore a small piece of the origin of primal chaos and placed it in his nostrils. He gently inhaled it, and it quickly rushed into his sea of consciousness. It hovered above the sea of bitterness. Gradually, Yi Qinghan actually felt a weak divine power. Even if he had the origin of primal chaos, even if it took root in his sea of consciousness, he still needed to completely refine the origin of primal chaos and let it completely replace the origin of martial arts. This wasn't something that could be done overnight. However, there were countless primal chaos divine sources here. He had also exchanged a large amount of divine herbs and supreme treasures. Yi Qinghan wasn't worried. In any case, the entrance of the cave would be sealed by the snow very soon. There wouldn't be any danger. It was only time, and he could afford to waste it. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the ground and completely refined that small piece of primal chaos origin. He allowed it to completely fuse with his soul. He could communicate with and control more and more divine power. Even if it was only 1/10,000th of his divine power, it was still a qualitative leap. It gradually quieted down. Yi Qinghan started to refine the origin of primal chaos. The little money grubber and the little beast didn't disturb him at all because they were even busier than Yi Qinghan. One was eating, and the other was collecting peak-grade primal chaos divine sources. They were extremely busy. One day in the cave was equivalent to 1,000 years in the world. Time flew by. Yi Qinghan cultivated tirelessly. It took him more than 10 days to refine the origin of primal chaos to a saturated level and completely replace the origin of martial arts. However, the origin of martial arts replaced by the origin of primal chaos was even more powerful. Yi Qinghan had a more thorough understanding of the nature of the Great Tao. With so many primal chaos divine sources, Yi Qinghan simply cultivated diligently in the cave, completely forgetting about the dangers outside. After devouring a large amount of primal chaos divine sources, the 13 divine sources in his body were all refined into invincible supreme beings of the same level. The internal space of the Godhead had expanded dozens of times, and it was filled with primal chaos energy. It was surging like a vast galaxy. With his current divine power storage, other than Wu Jiang and Mo Li, even if the other battle constitutions worked together, they might not be able to outlast him. The surrounding primal chaos divine sources were all turned into dregs. They were all forcefully devoured and refined by Yi Qinghan. His cultivation improved by leaps and bounds. The little beast dug from the bottom to the top, almost hollowing out the entire mountain. Only the surface of the primal chaos divine sources were left. It really didn't like eating primal chaos divine sources, so it started to run to Yi Qinghan's side and dug deeper. However, a lot of primal chaos divine sources were refined by Yi Qinghan into dregs. It took him more than 10 meters to dig out a peak-grade divine crystal. The little money grubber was so tired that it was panting. The primal chaos divine sources had already filled its storage space. It was too lazy to move, so it laid on Yi Qinghan's shoulder to rest. At this moment, the outside world was already covered in snow. Tens of thousands of beasts roared and attacked from the depths to the periphery. Everywhere they passed was a mess. The ferocious beasts were killing each other, and the low-level ferocious beasts on the periphery could only flee in disorder. Countless ferocious beasts flattened the mountain range and snow. Birds shrieked and rolled up snow dragons. It was like hell, and people couldn't look straight at it. It wasn't like this in one place, but everywhere. Li Feng and the others were attacked, but there were too many ferocious beasts. They couldn't resist at all. They could only fly high and avoid the ferocious beasts' attacks, but they couldn't avoid the birds' attacks. They could only force their way through and fly to Yi Qinghan's previous location, the mountain range where the beast tamers were. The entrance was directly blocked by the Kuelong. The iron chain on the Kuelong's body was still binding it. Otherwise, it would have destroyed this world. Chapter 10:24. Roar. Countless ferocious beasts rushed out from the depths, crushing everything in their path. Mountain peaks were uprooted, and ancient trees were turned into rotten wood. Although the white tiger, the vermilion bird, the eternal azure dragon, and the divine phoenix were not the four paramount gods of the past, their noble bloodlines were enough to crush countless giant gods. They were powerful, and some of them could even transform. Their intelligence was even more terrifying than humans. They could cover the clouds and capture the moon with a single step. Tens of thousands of ferocious beasts galloped, causing their blood to boil. 8,000 li south of Yi Qinghan's so-called location, a youth was wearing tiger skin. His arms were exposed, and his body was covered in wounds. His face was covered in a Qilin mask. He held a spear in his hand and was chased by countless ferocious beasts. He could only forcibly tear open a mountain and hide inside. As soon as he entered the cave, the youth coughed up blood. He took off his mask, and his devilish appearance had a shadow of Jiang Jingheng's. However, that peerless temperament was very similar to Yi Qinghan's. He was bold, cold, and domineering. If Yi Qinghan was here and saw this youth's attire, he would definitely recognize that this was the legendary character of Martial God City, Jiang Jingyun. He had entered the mountain range alone for more than 10 years, yet he had not died and had even escaped. Although he was heavily injured, one could imagine that his strength was not inferior to Yi Qinghan's. It might even be a little stronger. Cough, cough, cough. Jiang Jingyun strenuously blocked the cave and then stabbed his spear into the ground. He half knelt on the ground and coughed up blood. It was as if his internal organs had been shattered. No one knew what kind of creature he had fought to actually cause such heavy injuries. An epoch of reincarnation. The great calamity has begun, and I actually have no strength to return to the clan. Jiang Jingtian coughed up blood continuously, his eyes filled with despair and anger. Boom, boom, boom. The earth rose and fell, and the mountain range collapsed, submerging the cave. However, a large rock happened to block the cave, leaving Jiang Jingyun with a final chance of survival. Thousands of powerful creatures swept across the sky. Birds whistled, and ferocious beasts crushed the mountain range and followed closely. Damn it! If he hadn't been entangled by that unknown beast for 10 years, he wouldn't have suffered such heavy injuries. The depths of this place are truly terrifying. Jiang Jingtian gritted his teeth. He was so tired that he couldn't even straighten his back. Kneeling on the ground, he summoned a divine medicine and swallowed it. It melted as soon as it entered his mouth, but his pale face was still devoid of blood. At this moment, Yi Qinghan had already reached his peak state. Just as he got up, the mountain rocks above him were crushed by the ferocious beasts, causing the entire mountain peak to collapse. Boom, boom, whoosh, whoosh. Yi Qinghan's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He reached out and grabbed the little beast and the little money grubber. With a roll, he hid behind the rock wall of a deep pit. The rocks above were like rain, drowning the deep pit. Yi Qinghan glanced at the sky from the corner of his eyes and saw countless birds and ferocious beasts galloping across the sky. He was in a violent mood and couldn't help but hold his breath, not daring to expose his position. Otherwise, with so many ferocious beasts surrounding him and no reinforcements, wouldn't he be waiting for death? Roar, roar, roar. The ferocious beasts roared furiously. Yi Qinghan actually didn't recognize more than half of the creatures. Their races had never appeared in this world before. The little money grubber was trembling in fear. The little beast didn't dare to move recklessly either, allowing the ferocious beasts to fly over its head. The beast tide has occurred. Let's wait for them to pass first. We'll take a detour back to Martial God City. We owe them a favor. If we can return it, we'll return it. If we can't, we'll flee. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. You barbarian, are you going to fight to the death with them? The little money grubber asked in shock. Yes, I have to go since I promised them. This favor must be returned. Otherwise, I won't be able to live with myself, Yi Qinghan said firmly. At this moment, Li Feng and the others had no choice but to fight crazily. Blood flowed like a river, dyeing the sky red. Even the snow was dyed red. In the end, relying on a large amount of divine medicine, they no longer suppressed their cultivation. The three experts broke through to the Master God realm one after another. Their battle prowess instantly increased by several hundred times. They destroyed the ferocious beasts in front of them as easily as crushing dry weeds. Zixian and Li Feng were the strongest. As for the veteran giant god Bai Yelu, he seemed ordinary in the face of Dong Qin, who had the most heavenly treasure battle physique. Dong Qin wasn't best at fighting. That was why the first-generation heavenly treasure battle physique wasn't willing to participate in battles during the chaotic era. However, that didn't mean she wasn't strong. Swoosh! Swoosh! The four swords joined forces. Their killing intent was unparalleled and unstoppable. They quickly rushed toward the beast tamer's location. Countless birds attacked the four of them, but Li Feng and Zixian forcefully created an opening. They rushed out of the encirclement like lightning. Once they were out of the encirclement, they immediately pulled away from the birds. 6 hours later, Li Feng and the others appeared outside Martial God City. At this moment, Martial God City had already activated its defenses. A large number of sharp wooden stakes were erected. The barrier would open at any moment. Everyone in the tribe was gathered. From the oldest decaying old man to the youngest teenager, everyone had a solemn expression. No one is allowed to release the ferocious beasts. All of them are sealed within their bloodlines. The Jiang clan elder shouted sternly. Clan elder, patriarch, what happened? Many people were so frightened that their faces turned ashen. Jiang Jingyun was so frightened that he was about to cry. The aura was too oppressive. The clan elder took a deep breath and didn't answer. Instead, he looked at Jiang Wu and asked in a low voice, "Where are the people from the Xianyuan tribe and the Yan tribe?" "They're almost here. They're arranging for the week to prepare for collective defense. We'll try to save as many of our tribe members as possible," Jiang Wu quickly replied. "Yes. Make the announcement and get ready for battle. This catastrophe is a monster horde. Focus on defense. We'll only be able to fight our way out of the city if we can't hold on any longer. All half-step Lord-level powerhouses are to stand at the forefront. Leave some hope for the children," the clan elder said in a low voice. At that moment, dozens of powerhouses charged from behind. They were the clan elders of the two major tribes and their top powerhouses. At that moment, their faces were ashen and solemn. Their eyes were almost filled with the will to die. Yan Zhenfeng and Xianyuan Lu had come as well. Their abilities were not weak. They were considered mainstays and could stand at the forefront. They looked at the pitch-black sky and the snow-white ground. Their hearts raced. It would be unrealistic to say that they weren't afraid. This scene was like the end of the world. Anyone would feel despair. "Where's Jiang Jingtian?" The two of them still couldn't forget Jiang Jingtian. At that moment, they felt that perhaps their survival rate would be higher with Jiang Jingtian around. He was just too monstrous. "Let's hope he can make it back before the monster horde," the Jiang clan elder said hoarsely. His eyes were filled with anticipation, hoping that Yi Qinghan would return after recovering his origin. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He looked to his right and saw several figures. He thought that Yi Qinghan had returned. Whoosh, Li Feng and the other three streaked across the void like a bolt of lightning and appeared outside Martial God City. The monster horde has begun. My friends, please open the city gates and let us in. We can work together to defend the city. Li Feng and the others landed outside Martial God City. Their expressions were terrible, and they were bathed in rivers of blood. It was clear how intense the battle had been. The Jiang clan elder frowned. He was rather suspicious. He asked in a low voice, "Who are you? Why are you here?" Chapter 10:25. The Jiang clan elder frowned, somewhat suspicious. He asked in a deep voice, "Who are you? Why are you here?" Some creatures could transform and were no different from humans. It was normal for the Jiang clan elder to be suspicious. He even poured out his divine power, ready to attack at any moment. "Please don't misunderstand, Senior. We're from the Chaosverse. A friend of ours accidentally fell into the abyssal realm, and we're here to search for him. His name is Yi Qinghan. Has he ever been to your tribe?" Dongqin was a very genial person, and she was very reassuring. His friend. The clan elder was somewhat suspicious. "Senior, please take a look. This is his life tablet. If we are not his friend, how could we have his life tablet?" Dongqin was overjoyed. It seemed that Yi Qinghan had indeed been here before. It would be easier to deal with someone familiar. In order to prove it, she took the life tablet from Li Feng's hand and hurriedly explained. Li Feng looked behind him and saw a black mass. The earth was trembling. They were very anxious, but if they wanted to enter the city, they needed their permission. The Jiang clan elder immediately nodded and said to the other clan elders, "One more person means one more force. There are 4 giant gods with high cultivation bases. We can work together. This old man also knows their friends. They are trustworthy." With the Jiang clan elder acting as a guarantor, the other clan elders naturally had no objections. The 4 of them immediately charged into Martial God City. Hua! The barrier flickered with divine light, enveloping the entire Martial God City. A large amount of primal chaos divine source provided an endless stream of primal chaos energy, enough to resist for a period of time. Roar! Roar! Screech! Powerful vicious beasts swarmed over. They had always known that the myriad beast race was not the only race in the abyss world. There was also a race of humans. Their goal was clear: to destroy this race of humans. Boom! Thousands of vicious beasts crashed into the barrier at the same time. The heavens shook and the earth shook. "Everyone, surround the barrier. Do not allow any gaps to be opened." The clan elders' roar resounded throughout Martial God City. Martial God City was filled with experts. The old, the weak, the sick, the disabled, the women, and the children were all gathered in the center. The able-bodied men stood at the front. Even if they died, they would die first. However, no one was afraid. The 3 clan elders each led their tribe's experts to surround the 4 sides. There was only one side that was left undefended. Li Feng took the lead, and together with Zixian and the other 2, they led a group of young beast tamers to guard that side. There were strong cultivators standing guard in all directions. All of their divine power was channeled into the enchantment. No matter how much the earth shook, the enchantment could not be shaken. Puff! Many young experts couldn't withstand the vibrations. Their internal organs were almost shattered, and they coughed out blood on the spot. This was only the initial stage. The later stages would be even more ferocious. Beast tamers could only fuse with ferocious pets to strengthen their physical bodies, but they were unable to mobilize them for battle. After fusing with the powerful ferocious beasts, the human's physical body became dozens of times stronger. They frantically channeled their divine power into the enchantment. In the central area, a large amount of divine chaos source emitted a divine light that soared into the sky. All of the energy inside was ignited, making the enchantment as stable as the universe's barrier, blocking the attacks of the beasts. Many ferocious beasts were smashed into pieces, dyeing the enchantment red. Their corpses were devoured by other ferocious beasts. The large amount of blood essence made the beasts even more violent. Li Feng and the others looked at the ferocious beasts outside, and their hair stood on end. There were so many ferocious beasts in the initial stage. Once the enchantment was broken and its energy was depleted, would anyone here survive? Why is this happening? Is it because of the snow? Zixian was extremely shocked. He couldn't understand why these ferocious beasts were rioting. It's natural selection. Perhaps the ferocious beasts here have reached a saturation point, and the abyss world can no longer maintain its operation. It can only use them to kill each other and eliminate some of the creatures, Dong Qin said in a low voice. The entire abyss world is rioting. Qinghan doesn't have any divine power. Will there be any accidents? Zixian frowned and said worriedly. Li Feng took out his life token. There was nothing unusual. He comforted himself. He shouldn't die. Let's take care of ourselves first. The ferocious beasts in the depths of the abyss world had yet to reach the territory of the beast tamers. Even so, it was still difficult for them to resist. It could be foreseen that the scene in 10 days would be hell. It was normal for the beast tamers to be wiped out. At this moment, Yi Qinghan dodged the trampling beasts. He didn't dare to move in the slightest. He focused his eyes and saw a long rainbow streak across the depth. Even he didn't see what kind of creature it was. Its speed was too fast. He couldn't catch its trajectory at all. However, he knew that the figure just now was a humanoid creature. It had already transformed. What a powerful creature! Yi Qinghan said hoarsely. There are many powerful creatures in the depths. Some of them won't be affected at all. The ones that came out for the time being are all weak creatures. Unless there are some brutal and powerful ferocious beasts that will be affected, the little miser said truthfully. If all the creatures in the depths were affected, even if the beast tamers were several times stronger, they wouldn't be able to escape destruction, let alone their current strength. Let's go out. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fist. He felt an inexhaustible surge of primal chaos energy. He was very confident. Even if they fought outside Martial God City, with the help of so many experts, they would be able to maintain the situation. At the very least, they would be able to escape. Hua! The berserker appeared in his hand. The 7 feet of cold light was roasted by the flames. The cold light flickered. It could definitely be considered a giant divine weapon. If he could obtain more materials in the future, the quality of this berserker might surpass the power of the Spear of Time. It could be passed down for tens of thousands of eras. Boom! Yi Qinghan casually cut open tens of thousands of supreme-grade divine sources and stored them in his yin and yang ring. He rushed out of the underground and followed the horde of beasts in the direction of Martial God City. At this moment, Jiang Jingtian had swallowed dozens of divine medicines and healed most of his injuries. However, it was difficult for him to display his peak strength. In the end, he had no choice but to take out a 2-inch-long divine medicine. It was shaped like a flaming dragon and contained primal chaos energy. It seemed to be even more powerful than the primal chaos energy. It was almost about to transform. Once it transformed, it would definitely be a peerless king. It might not even lose to the supreme gods. For the sake of my clansmen, I have no choice but to merge with you. Jiang Jingtian hesitated for a moment before swallowing it into his stomach. Terrifying energy filled his limbs and bones. All the injuries in his body were healed to perfection in an instant. His physical body had almost become the embodiment of energy. Boom! Jiang Jingtian's aura trembled slightly. The surrounding mountains were flattened. The godhood in his sea of consciousness was instantly reorganized. The internal space was much larger than that of ordinary giant gods. The primal chaos energy was like an ocean, each wave higher than the last. The primal chaos energy of the myriad of worlds was revealed. Countless laws attached themselves to him and circulated around his body. Jiang Jingtian sat cross-legged on the ground and absorbed the energy, striving to improve his cultivation. At this time, Yi Qinghan had already put on his mask and rushed out. He was as fast as lightning as he sped through the clouds. However, Martial God City was in a precarious situation. No matter how much primal chaos energy there was, it couldn't withstand such a collision. At this time, the clan elder's house had been torn down and used as energy for defense. The clan elder was in despair. He felt that it was difficult to escape this calamity. Chapter 10:26. In the Abyss World, a rainbow tore through the darkness. The mountain range in the depths was completely revealed. Jiang Jingtian slowly stood up. His divine power poured out, and he looked as handsome as jade. His enchanting appearance was not inferior to Yi Qinghan's. He looked less wild and more cultured. He put on his mask again and changed into a beast robe from his universe ring. He reached out and grabbed the spear in his hand. He shattered the earth with a single step and rushed out as fast as lightning. Jiang Jingtian left half an hour later than Yi Qinghan. At this moment, Yi Qinghan had already run to the periphery. Boom, boom, boom. The earth rumbled and waves of snow surged. The snow had already stopped, but now it seemed to be falling even harder. Huge beasts splashed mountains and rivers as they rushed to the front. Yi Qinghan began to overtake some of the beasts. In order to save time, he emitted a dense dragon's aura to intimidate 10,000 beasts. With the support of the little beast, his speed increased several times. Whoosh, whoosh. Yi Qinghan held violent strike and was even faster than Jiang Jingtian. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. Many beasts thought that their eyes were playing tricks on them. After chasing for more than an hour, Yi Qinghan still did not catch up with that humanoid creature from before. He couldn't help but increase his speed again. Stellar transposition was already so fast that there was no trace left. He used wind mark to the limit and couldn't even bring up the wind. Martial God City. All 50,000 creatures were gathered here. The huge barrier towered into the clouds. Even the clan elder personally went to battle. Countless beasts gathered outside Martial God City. They covered the sky and covered the sun. If not for the primal chaos source burning, the entire world would be in darkness. Children wept in Martial God City. The weak howled in grief and despair. Some people's legs were soft and trembling. The aura of despair pervaded the air. The giant god also began to feel that it was very difficult. All the houses in Martial God City had collapsed. If this continued for 6 more hours, the barrier would collapse. This barrier can't hold on any longer. Maintain your peak combat power and prepare to break out at any time, Li Feng reminded in a deep voice. Fellow Taoist Dong Qin and I will hold them off first. You and fellow Taoist Zixian maintain your combat power. You two are the strongest, so maybe you can lead us to break out of the encirclement. Bai Yelu immediately expressed his support, willing to exchange his own safety for the strongest to maintain their status. Zixian and Li Feng did not hesitate. They slowly gave up on injecting their godly power and swallowed the godly medicine to replenish their battle prowess. At this time, they could only be selfish. There was no need to fight to the death for Martial God City. Moreover, with their cultivation, they could not turn the tide. Time flew by and it was unbelievably fast. Everyone wished that time could slow down and the God Source could last a little longer. However, the God Source was disappearing at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. The old, weak, sick, and disabled were also busy melting the snow and raising the temperature in the city. No one knew why these ferocious beasts were so angry, but they could only guess that it was because of the cold snow. Only by removing all the snow nearby could the ferocious beasts calm down. Perhaps it was also because of this that the ferocious beasts in their bodies would cooperate with them in the battle. The snow turned into water and roared as it rushed into the deep pit. A large number of bonfires appeared in every corner of the city. As the temperature rose a little, they felt that the ferocious beasts in their bodies would calm down a little. Suddenly, they felt that their hope was expanding. It's really because of the cold snow. The cold air will make them irritable and crazy. An old man discovered the problem and immediately shouted to remind them. However, this could only solve the problem of the ferocious beasts in the city. It could not solve the problem of the ferocious beasts outside. The ferocious beasts outside were the most fundamental reason. However, there was too much snow outside. No one could instantly incinerate so much snow. The cold wind whistled. Even more ferocious beasts had accumulated outside. Whoosh! A figure flashed past and appeared outside Martial God City. There was no sign of life on it. Its cold eyes were emotionless. It was the shape-shifted creature that Yi Qinghan saw before. It had intelligence but no emotions. It only knew how to kill. Boom! The shape-shifted expert waved his large hand. It covered the sky and the sun. Divine power poured out and blasted the seal on the barrier. Hundreds of ferocious beasts could not escape in time and were directly smashed into meat paste. Boom, boom, boom. The true power had just begun to erupt. The entire barrier almost collapsed. The Jiang clan elder who was standing at the front of the formation had a gloomy expression. His heart was almost crushed. It was clear how terrifying this shape-shifted creature was. The faces of the people inside the barrier changed. They felt that the terrifying power was not something that could be resisted by human strength. What kind of creature is this shape-shifted creature? The Jiang clan elder roared hoarsely and shouted in surprise. If Jiang Jingtian was here, he would recognize that it was this shape-shifted creature that had injured him. That battle had caused the heavens to collapse and the earth to rend. That battle had even forced the shape-shifted creature back to its original form to fight. After 10 years of fighting, he had been constantly dodging and evading. However, he still could not escape from the situation of being severely injured. There were a few times when he almost died, but in the end, he managed to escape. This was also the reason why his life tablet had shattered. A bunch of ants! How dare you set foot in the abyss world? Hand over all your life origin to me, and I'll leave your corpses intact. The shape-shifted creature finally spoke. Its cold expression made people's hair stand on end. The 3 clan elders, including Li Feng and Zixian, felt their hair stand on end. They watched as he slightly raised his right hand. It was as if he was commanding the might of heaven and earth. Borrowing the Tao of myriad laws, he could smash any expert into pieces with a single palm. They knew that the barrier would not be able to withstand a single attack. Boom! The sky-covering palm condensed once again and blasted forcefully onto the barrier. Wah! The enchantment was turned into dust, and the divine roots in the city were depleted. Many formidable martial artists were sent flying by the force, including the 3 elders. They were forced to retreat hundreds of steps. This palm strike had killed hundreds of young formidable martial artists in the city. Bang, bang, bang! Nearly 1,000 strong men fell to the ground and coughed up blood. Their eyes were filled with despair. All the ferocious beasts did not attack immediately. Instead, they all looked at the shape-shifted creature. They were also frightened by its terrifying aura. The world was deathly silent. Only the shape-shifted creature was moving. Its strength was probably comparable to the serpent at its peak. It was comparable to the first-generation Guangwu battle physique. It was definitely not something that people of this era could contend against. Apart from the battle physique, no one could resist. Does the heavens want our beast-tamer lineage to perish? The Jiang clan elder shouted unwillingly. This creature was too powerful. Perhaps only Jiang Jingtian's return could save the clan. It's not the heavens that want you to perish. It's me who wants you to perish. The shape-shifted creature's cold face looked down on everyone. Its gaze first locked onto Li Feng, Zixian, and Dong Qin. Yan Zhenfeng and Xianyuan Lu were also among them. Its target was the life origin of the young generation's king-level experts, the power of blood and qi. That was why it had chased after Jiang Jingtian for 10 years. Jiang Jingtian was able to resist its attacks for 10 years without dying. It was clear to see how powerful he was. Li Feng and Zixian looked at each other and walked side by side toward the Jiang clan elder. Celestial treasure battle physique. Descendant of the Violet Emperor. Ha ha ha, I didn't think there would be such an unexpected harvest. The shape-shifted creature's eyes were as sharp as an eagle's. Its sharp voice was extremely ear-piercing, and its laughter was even more terrifying. My life origin. You can take it, but you won't be able to use it, Zixian said coldly. The inheritance of a paramount god's life origin was strictly forbidden. Only the bloodline could pass it down. Back then, Yi Qinghan had almost been tortured to death by the Chaos Dragon's life origin. This was something that all experts knew. It's just a dead paramount god. If he were here in person, I would naturally submit. Unfortunately, he's dead. His will alone cannot kill me. The shape-shifted creature replied indifferently. Whoosh! Zixian's fingertip twirled, and a drop of golden chaotic energy appeared in his hand. It was filled with the power to destroy heaven and earth. It was the paramount god's life origin, and the concentration was very high. It had only been diluted by half. It was equivalent to 30% of the paramount god's life origin power. It was possible to destroy all living things within 10,000 miles. You can try. Zixian threatened coldly. Paramount god's life origin power. The shape-shifted creature was stunned and took several steps back. Its eyes were serious, but it quickly recovered and laughed evilly. This level of paramount god's life origin power can indeed hurt me. But it also depends on whose hand it is. For a piece of trash like you who can't even withstand a single blow, do you think I'd be afraid of you? Zixian's expression was awkward. This paramount god's life origin power was not something she could control. Once it exploded, it could very likely raze this place to the ground. She might not be able to kill this shape-shifted creature, but none of them could escape. Humph! With a cold snort, a figure appeared behind the beast. It was wearing a Qilin mask and beast robes and battle armor. Its speed was as fast as lightning. Great, desolate, imprisoning heavenly finger! Hua! The giant finger suddenly condensed into a seal. It tore through the void and headed straight for the shape-shifted creature's head. Chapter 10:27. Whoosh! The heaven-imprisoning finger shattered the void and went straight for the back of the monster's head. The monster suddenly turned around and hurriedly threw out a palm strike. Chaotic divine power gushed out, and countless beasts were sent flying, screaming miserably. A vacuum was formed between him and the intruder, and no creature dared to stand. Whoosh! 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 The beasts fled to the sides, and the beasts went berserk. Some of the creatures that couldn't escape in time were torn to pieces by the power of the two, and a bloody mist dyed the sky red. Boom! Boom! The great desolate imprisoning finger quickly collided with the giant palm, and the finger shattered on the spot. The intruder reacted quickly, and his body retreated slightly. His elbow shattered the laws and chaotic force, and slammed into the giant palm. Boom! The elbow instantly crushed the big handprint and went straight to the body of the transformed monster. The ground collapsed and split into pieces. Gullies stretched out for thousands of meters, swallowing many beasts. It's you again. Jiang Jingtian, there's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. The materialized monster's physical body was smashed into the ground, but its divine power poured out, instantly erupting with double the strength and sending the assailant flying back dozens of meters. He soared into the sky and appeared on the ground. When he saw the assailant, he recognized the mask and appearance. Moreover, Yi Qinghan's physique was almost the same as Jiang Jingtian's. At this moment, not only did he think that Jiang Jingtian had returned, but even the clan elders and countless beast tamers thought that Jiang Jingtian had returned. Jingtian is back. Ha ha ha. Our clan is saved. It's brother Jingtian. At this moment, not only the young children were cheering, but the older generation's faces were also filled with excitement and joy, as if they saw the hope of victory. Zixin, Dong Qin, and the others looked at each other. Wasn't this guy Yi Qinghan? Although he was wearing a mask, all of his moves and that incomparably domineering attack style, who else could it be other than him? Li Feng quickly took out his life token, and it almost merged with the masked man in front of him. He was sure that it was Yi Qinghan and not Jiang Jingtian. It's him. Cooperate with him, we'll counterattack. Li Feng put away his life card without hesitation and drew his sword. It's him. He has recovered his martial Dao origin. The Jiang clan elder recognized Yi Qinghan because he knew that Jiang Jingtian did not know the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist and stared at this shape-shifted creature. He couldn't help but admit that this creature was already heaven-defying. His peak attack was a sneak attack, and coupled with the little critter's speed, it was actually easily neutralized by the other party. This battle would be very difficult. Humph! Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. His domineering aura leaked out, and the might of a giant dragon rushed out of his body. I allow you to leave this place. You won't be able to gain any benefits if both sides are injured. You'll only be devoured by the other transformed monsters in the depths, Yi Qinghan reminded him coldly. The transformed monster frowned slightly and finally showed some emotion because it recognized that the man in front of it was not Jiang Jingtian at all. After all, they had fought for 10 years and could recognize the most basic aura. You're not Jiang Jingtian? Are you a descendant of a giant dragon? The transformed monster asked coldly. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand and took off his mask, then threw it to the side. His body shook and the beast robe on his body shattered. His divine power evolved into a battle robe, and he stood in front. His tall and straight body emitted an unparalleled domineering aura. His eyes were filled with disdain as he looked down on the 10,000 races and transformed monsters. He waved his hand and grasped the robe in his palm. Ah, it's Senior Yi. Jiang Jingheng and Jiang Jingyun screamed in shock. They guessed that the brother Jingtian, who appeared a month ago, was not Yi Qinghan at all, but rather Yi Qinghan. The beast tamer faction was stunned. They thought it was Yi Qinghan, but they didn't expect a stranger to appear. Jiang Wu was even more shocked. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so strong. His martial Dao origin was actually replaced by the primal chaos divinity source. It's Yi Qinghan. I didn't expect him to be so strong. In Martial God City, the people of the Jiang clan felt their hair stand on end. A while ago, they thought Yi Qinghan's strength was only so. They didn't expect his cultivation to be so far beyond their imagination. As for Yan Zhenfeng and Xianyuan Lu, they were completely dumbfounded. They realized that the one they provoked was not Jiang Jingtian at all, but this barbaric Tyrannosaurus. They couldn't help but feel disgusted. Fortunately, Yi Qinghan didn't break their bones in anger. This matter has nothing to do with you. Since you're a descendant of the Dragon Clan, I'll spare your life. Scram! The transformed monster shouted sternly. Boom! Yi Qinghan stepped forward and said firmly, Sorry, I owe you a favor. You have to retreat today whether you like it or not. The transformed monster didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so domineering and determined. The coldness in its eyes grew colder and colder. The Jiang clan elder's old face was filled with excitement and gratitude. He knew that his goodwill wasn't in vain. Thank you, fellow Yi. This old man will attack together with you. We should be able to force him to a draw. The Jiang clan elder immediately stepped forward and prepared to launch a pincer attack. They would work together to repel the monster. Roar. The transformed monster roared towards the sky. Its black hair was like ink piercing through the void. Its voice carried a terrifying, killing intent. The monsters within a radius of 10,000 miles immediately roared and pressed forward. Yi Qinghan frowned. If it was a chaotic battle, the beast-tamer lineage would very likely be annihilated. Only a few clan elders would be able to survive. Even the clan elder wouldn't be able to survive. It would just be a lose-lose situation. Let's fight one-on-one. 3,000 moves. If you can defeat me, I'll turn around and leave. If you can't win, you won't get any benefits either. We'll give up on the weak and work together to kill you. Yi Qinghan suggested. Roar. Li Feng pulled out his sword. His aura rose and supported Yi Qinghan's force. Roar, roar, roar. At the same time, Zixian and Bai Yelu pulled out their swords. Then, the three clan elders of the beast-tamer lineage, Kong Yongwu and Jiang Wu, as well as all the young experts, pulled out their weapons one after another. Their mighty divine aura pressed down on the transformed monster. One-on-one. The transformed monster laughed evilly and was very disdainful. In terms of combat strength, there were less than 10 people in the Abyss world who could contend with him. However, that didn't include Yi Qinghan and Jiang Jingtian. Are you sure you want to give up your life for this group of ants? The transformed monster sneered and threatened. Give up my life? Not to that extent. You can't kill me, Yi Qinghan replied coldly. Then I really want to try the taste of dragon meat. The transformed monster flashed coldly. His aura rose by 10 times and suppressed Yi Qinghan. Boom, boom, boom. The two auras collided and rushed into the clouds, tearing apart the darkness. Wait. Tell the beasts to scram and stay 3,000 li away from Martial God City. Tell the people of Martial God City to retreat as well. I don't want to kill indiscriminately. The aftermath of our battle isn't something they can contend against. Yi Qinghan held his saber with both hands and slowly moved to the side. He circled behind the transformed monster and stood in front of everyone. The transformed monster waved its hand and the beasts retreated. Yi Qinghan's back was facing everyone. He said to the Jiang clan elder, Senior, I will do my best. If I lose, you can take as many as you can. I can't win against this monster. I might not even be able to withstand 3,000 moves. The Jiang clan elder nodded solemnly and said with a hoarse voice, This old man is extremely grateful that you can come back. Brother Li Feng, the four of you should also maintain your combat strength, Yi Qinghan reminded in a deep voice. Chapter 10:28. A cold and terrifying aura pervaded the air. Everyone retreated several li away, their gazes fixed on Yi Qinghan's back. Whether or not they could survive depended on whether Yi Qinghan could withstand 3,000 moves. This shape-shifted monster was as cold as ice. Although it had a human face, it did not have a human heart. With a swipe of the air, the energy turned into a blade that could steal one's soul. Yi Qinghan almost twisted Zhongquang out of shape. He withdrew his hands and the tips of his feet shattered the earth. His body shot out like a cannonball, slashing through the void. The blade turned into a bolt of lightning as it shot towards the end of the wilderness. The power of heaven and earth swept thousands of li, turning into overlapping waves that rose into the clouds. The flaming battle robe was biting cold in the wind. Boom! The shape-shifted monster manipulated the airflow blade. As fast as lightning, it disappeared from the spot. The airflow blade was even sharper than a giant divine weapon. It crashed directly into Zhongquang, causing the airflow to collapse for hundreds of li. The aftershock flattened the nearby mountains. The experts of the beast-tamer lineage blocked the front. Dozens of giant gods worked together to erase the aftershock, preventing the people behind them from being harmed. Bang! The energy overturned Yi Qinghan and sent him tumbling back more than 10 times. However, the shape-shifted monster did not retreat. Instead, it attacked aggressively. The airflow blade pierced through the void and charged towards the retreating Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's reaction was extremely fast. The moment his body fell, the blade in his hand slashed down from above. The blade energy split the earth as it charged towards the shape-shifted monster in front of him. The two were so fast that they left no trace. The shape-shifted monster's figure flashed. It did not attack forcefully but instead charged to the side, turning around and slashing fiercely. Boom, boom, boom. Yi Qinghan flipped his blade and moved to the right. There were no feints at all. Using such a move in a battle between experts was simply courting death and a waste of time. The sky shook and the earth shook as the two exchanged blows. However, it was clear that Yi Qinghan was at a disadvantage. If he was careless, he would be crushed to pieces by the shape-shifting expert. The terrifying power could destroy heaven and earth. The bones in Yi Qinghan's hand were shattered. The seemingly ordinary attack had the power to kill a giant god. After 300 moves, the shape-shifted monster was not anxious at all. It continued to drive Yi Qinghan's rhythm according to its own. Swoosh, swoosh. The airflow blade turned into a sword. The sword was several times more powerful than the human sword god. Every strike pierced the heart and tore the flaming battle robe. However, the divine power was endless and the battle robe was not destroyed. At this moment, calm. How? Martial God City was completely obliterated. There was not the slightest bit of vitality left. Although the transformed vicious creature was powerful, if this continued, even he himself would not be able to endure it. He once again gathered qi into a sword. It flickered with 1,000 zhang-long rainbow. The sword whistled through the air, causing the myriad laws to collapse. Even the aura of primal chaos was evading. The shape-shifted monster flashed. Sometimes it would appear behind Yi Qinghan. Sometimes it would appear to the left. It was impossible to predict where it would attack. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Yi Qinghan was even more domineering. He used gravity craze to form a barrier of astral energy that covered 100 meters. Boom. The shape-shifted monster's sword pierced through the astral energy barrier. Sword qi and saber light collided. The airflow sword pierced through everything. With absolute advantage, it shattered Yi Qinghan's defenses and slammed into gravity craze. Bang! The bones in Yi Qinghan's hand broke, and the heavy sword flew out of his hand. It turned into a bolt of lightning and slammed into a mountain 100 miles away. Yi Qinghan's body also fell backward, and the friction on the ground caused monstrous flames to rise into the sky. Pfff. Yi Qinghan's qi and blood were in turmoil. He coughed up blood continuously. A deep trench appeared on the ground. It was shattered by the force of Yi Qinghan's body. The shape-shifted monster's sword was not easy to deal with. It had consumed 10% of its primal chaos energy. However, it was negligible to it. However, it could not prevent its body from retreating. Otherwise, it would only cause it to suffer heavy injuries. Thud, thud, thud. The shape-shifted monster retreated a few hundred steps. The mountain rocks on the ground were shattered into fine powder. After a long time, it stabilized its steps. With a twist of its waist, it reverted to its original form. It was a 7-feet-long demon wolf. Moonlight Wolf traversed 1,000 li in the blink of an eye. It left an afterimage behind it. Its sharp fangs were cold. It was definitely the sharpest divine weapon in the world. Yi Qinghan's dragon blood roared. He transformed into a dragon and soared into the sky. His huge tail covered the sky and smacked the demon wolf's body. It was as if a giant dragon was about to swallow it. 5 elements of heaven and earth, heed my command. 10,000 elements return to 1. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, 5 dragons emerge. Hum, 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 hum. 5 heavenly dragons appeared at the same time. They were extremely powerful, causing the heaven and earth to wail and the myriad of laws to roar. A solemn melody rumbled from the depths of the abyss. The blood of the beastmen began to boil. It was as if they were personally participating in the battle. Boom! The 6 heavenly dragons could destroy the heaven and earth as they smashed towards the demon wolf. Each of the giant dragons possessed terrifying battle strength. However, this demon wolf was not simple either. It increased its speed again and dodged the attacks of the 5 elemental heavenly dragons. Its sharp claws tore through the void and clawed at Yi Qinghan's divine dragon body. Boom! The dragon's huge tail collided with the demon wolf. Its sharp claws tore through the giant dragon's scales and directly attacked. However, it was thrown deep into the ground by Yi Qinghan's tail. Boom! The demon wolf's blood was suppressed by the giant dragon's aura. However, its killing intent was even more terrifying than a dragon's. It fought to the extreme and could not care less about its noble bloodline. Its fangs bit down on the giant tail. Roar! Yi Qinghan roared and swung its giant tail. It dragged the demon wolf and sent it flying. Swish! Yi Qinghan reverted to his human body. His thigh was bleeding profusely. He tapped on the major acupoints on his thigh to seal the wound. The piercing pain that came from his soul made his hair stand on end. Yi Qinghan stepped on the flaming heavenly dragon and moved side by side with the 5 dragons. He formed seals with his palms and turned them into fingers. It was as though the vast wilderness had been locked down. 1 finger could destroy the heaven and earth. 2 fingers could destroy the sun and moon. Great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. Finger annihilating mountains and rivers. Boom! A roar shook the clouds. The finger's seal broke through the sky and blasted towards the demon wolf's body. Roar! The demon wolf howled and pounced towards Yi Qinghan. It transformed into a human form in mid-air and slammed its palm towards the finger seal. Suppress! Boom, boom, boom! In an instant, the palm print destroyed Yi Qinghan's fingerprints as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. It then continued towards Yi Qinghan's body. The flaming dragon's body began to distort. The 5 elements heavenly dragon roared and opened its bloody mouth to devour the demon wolf. Boom! Die, all of you! The demon wolf's palm seal was high up in the sky. It crushed all shackles and destroyed the 5 elemental heavenly dragons. 5 elemental dragon fist. Boom! Although the 5 elemental heavenly dragons were destroyed, the demon wolf's aura also stagnated. Its battle prowess was reduced by more than half. Yi Qinghan seized the opportunity and punched out, shattering the giant palm seal. 2 attacks were enough to destroy one of the demon wolf's attacks. The fist met the demon wolf's giant palm. Qi soared into the starry river and the snow within 1,000 miles disappeared. In an instant, the entire abyss world seemed to have fallen silent. Chapter 10:29. The world was deathly silent. All the creatures held their breaths as they stared at Yi Qinghan and the demon wolf. The 2 of them didn't immediately separate when they collided. Instead, after 1 breath of time, a terrifying power erupted from their bodies. Yi Qinghan's power was domineering and endless, while the demon wolf's power was violent and crazy. Boom! After a loud boom, Yi Qinghan was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. He did not even have the chance to control his body as he was sent flying hundreds of miles away. He landed on the ground with great difficulty and stepped on the ground until he was less than 5 meters away from Li Feng and the rest. Drip, exuberant blood essence fell to the ground, corroding the mountain rocks. Gulp. Many people swallowed a mouthful of saliva and sucked in a breath of cold air. Looking at Yi Qinghan's twisted arm, one could tell how powerful that palm was. If it had landed on someone else, the clan elder's body would have been shattered. Jiang Jingyun was dumbfounded. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so strong. His imposing image as the number one person had instantly collapsed and was replaced by the current Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. His fist was dripping blood, and his arm was almost twisted into a fried dough twist. He could not help but sigh. Damn, what a strong body. It hurts so much. The bodies of the beasts are too strong. The difference between humans and them is too great. At this moment, the divine bird seemed to sense Yi Qinghan's surging blood essence and woke up from its seclusion. It ran to Yi Qinghan's shoulder and said lazily, "Damn, this divine bird is suffocating. What happened just now? Why am I sealed in my bloodline and unable to come out?" "Look in front of you before you speak," Yi Qinghan said in a muffled voice. The divine bird looked up doubtfully and saw countless beasts baring their teeth. It could not help but explode. "Damn, where is this? Have we entered the myriad beast race's lair? Why are you so worrisome? I've only been in seclusion for a short while, and you've already caused such a huge disaster. If you can't help, then shut up. Don't bother me." Yi Qinghan flew into a rage out of humiliation. This bastard was still as infuriating as ever. This guy is so wretched. He's actually from the same race as me. The little money grubber also ran out. Looking at the divine bird's wretched expression, she was speechless. The divine bird was stunned. It didn't expect another one of its kind to appear. Moreover, its bloodline was quite pure. It wasn't like it was a crossbreed born from its father's rape of the fire phoenix. It had the bloodline of the fire phoenix and the bloodline of the devouring divine parrot. Immediately, the divine bird had a dignified appearance. It spread its white wings and pretended to be majestic. It pointed at the demon wolf and shouted, "Hey! Where did this monster come from? How dare you go against this divine bird's master? You're not retreating even after seeing this divine bird. You must be blind." Yi Qinghan's entire body trembled. He was so angry that his teeth were itching. In order to attract a female, this guy didn't even care about danger and even dared to provoke the demon wolf's ferocious nature. Wow! How heroic! You're worthy of the devastatingly beautiful devouring divine parrot race's little money grubber. The little money grubber was very happy to accept Yi Qinghan's nickname because it was indeed quite money grubber. Humph! This is a battle between men. You retreat first and leave this to me, the divine bird said coldly and loftily. When everyone saw the divine bird being so generous and excited, they thought it really had some ability. They couldn't help but be delighted, feeling that another expert had appeared on their side. However, Li Feng and the others were the clearest that this guy was only good at arguing. His true ability was useless. Once the demon wolf became ferocious, this guy would definitely kneel. The little money grubber's eyes were seeing stars as he drooled. He wanted nothing more than to push the divine bird down on the spot. In order to see the divine bird's heroic spirit earlier, he retreated to the Jiang clan elder and shouted, "Husband, I think highly of you." Yi Qinghan was completely speechless. How bored was this guy to use this kind of method to attract a female regardless of the occasion? Cough cough. "Master, give me some face and let me have some fun this time. My lifelong happiness depends on you. I reckon I won't meet a third divine bird in this lifetime. And it's so pure." The divine bird secretly transmitted its voice. Yi Qinghan flew into a rage out of humiliation and roared, I can't beat him. You bastard, you actually dared to provoke him at this time. The demon wolf could no longer bear it. It didn't expect to be humiliated by a feathered beast like this. It couldn't help but take the initiative to walk towards Yi Qinghan with a cruel smile on its face. Devouring divine parrot, and a bastard at that. You actually dare to put on airs in front of me. Have you eaten a leopard's gall? The demon wolf asked hoarsely. The divine bird was furious. Its bloodline possessed the devouring divine parrot and the fire phoenix bloodline, and it had also obtained the divine phoenix's blood essence. No matter which bloodline it possessed, it was extremely noble, yet it was actually called a bastard. It couldn't tolerate this. You're the bastard. Your whole family are bastards. The divine bird was burning with rage. It took the initiative to rush into Yi Qinghan's body and forcefully pulled out the multicolored snake, the god-slaying eagle, the little golden crow, and the star-twining vine that were in seclusion. It shouted, "Brothers, help me get rid of him!" Yi Qinghan was forced into a corner. It seemed like there was no way to be kind today. They could only fight. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The multicolored snake flicked its forked tongue and coiled around Yi Qinghan's waist. It wasn't afraid in the face of danger. The little golden crow had already advanced to the giant god realm. Although it had just broken through, the flames on its body were much stronger than the fire phoenix's. The scorching temperature was something only Yi Qinghan could withstand. Roar! The little golden crow roared and turned into a ball of flames that burned the ground. The air was immediately ignited. Swish, swish, swish. The star-twining vine danced with countless vines, each of which had a powerful offensive ability. Screech! The god-slaying eagle circled above Yi Qinghan's head and looked down at the demon wolf without any fear. The beast tamers were shocked. Even the clan elder couldn't tame so many high-level divine beasts at the same time. Yi Qinghan, however, had several types of divine beasts at the same time. Even the demon wolf had to back off from such a group attack. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan shook lightly. With the enhancement of the fire phoenix's wings, a pair of flaming wings shot out from his back and flapped the sky. The little beast's merged soul increased its speed and boosted its combat strength to its peak. It also stepped forward forcefully. The demon wolf frowned. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to have so many divine beasts with him. Moreover, the weakest among them was an absolutely invincible existence among half-step lord-level powerhouses. There was no lack of giant gods. The little golden crow and the multicolored snake, in particular, were the most lethal. He had no choice but to be cautious. The current situation was no longer a one-on-one battle but a group attack. Yi Qinghan and a group of divine beasts were ganging up on the demon wolf. Do you think you can stand shoulder to shoulder with me just by taming so many divine beasts? The demon wolf pretended to be strong and asked menacingly. I can't stand shoulder to shoulder with you, but if you want to beat me, I can also cripple you. Yi Qinghan took a few more steps forward. With a twist of his finger, a second giant soldier god appeared in his hand, the Spear of Time. No one knew if Yi Qinghan had any other treasures with him. The berserker was already terrifying enough. Now that he had a chaos giant soldier god, its lethality was even greater. The Spear of Time. The demon wolf's expression became even more solemn. This item was definitely not weak. If it knew about the Purple Emperor and the Spear of Time, it must have come from the Chaos Era. I wanted to spare you, but it looks like there's no need for that today. All your treasures are mine now. The demon wolf's eyes flashed fiercely. He beckoned with his large hand, and a wolf fang appeared. It was 3 feet long and emitted a threatening cold light. The laws were repelled. Die! There was a violent roar and the heavens and earth trembled. However, it wasn't Yi Qinghan or the demon wolf who attacked. Everyone looked up at the void. The sky was distorted, and a figure charged out from an alternate dimension. The spear was soul-stealing, and the Qilin mask was clearly visible. The newcomer's identity was obvious. It was Jiang Jingtian. Chapter 10:30. Jiang Jingtian appeared, attacking with a speed as fast as lightning. Boom! The demonic wolf turned around and slashed at Jiang Jingtian with an air current blade. "It's you again, you trash. You've only known how to run for the past 10 years. Today I'll end you." The demonic wolf was enraged. Its aura surged as it wanted to kill Jiang Jingtian. Yi Qinghan shattered the ground. At this time, he couldn't care less about his face. If he wanted to surround him, so be it. Boom! The spear of time swept through time and space and blasted at the demonic wolf's back. The two heroes, one in front and one behind, attacked the demonic wolf in a pincer attack. Boom! 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 The demonic wolf slashed the air current in front of it and collided with the spear. The spear almost broke. Jiang Jingtian was fast and his strength was top-notch. He actually blocked the attack and unleashed his divine power crazily. The spear broke and dispersed the demonic wolf's air current blade. However, he was also sent flying by the air current and somersaulted dozens of times in the air. The demonic wolf didn't have time to continue chasing Jiang Jingtian because Yi Qinghan was already behind it. It could only turn around and claw at the spear of time. "Get out of my way!" Boom! The spear pierced through the void but couldn't penetrate the demonic wolf's defense. The two collided forcefully and Yi Qinghan fell to the ground. The spear pierced through the ground and drew a long river of flames on the ground. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan twisted his waist and steadied himself. He threw the spear of time, which turned into a flame and attacked the demonic wolf. Whoosh! The demonic wolf was extremely fast. It leaped into the sky and dodged Yi Qinghan's attack. However, at this moment Yi Qinghan shouted, "Catch!" Boom! Jiang Jingtian reached out and grabbed the spear of time. Yi Qinghan's goal wasn't to throw the spear to kill the demonic wolf. He just wanted to lend it to Jiang Jingtian. "Blade, come!" Yi Qinghan grabbed at the air and tore apart the mountains. He rushed over from 100 miles away and landed in his palm. The two heroes combined, one blade and one spear. A powerful aura burst out and the demonic wolf's aura was finally suppressed. "Many thanks, fellow Taoist," Jiang Jingtian said in a deep voice. "You're welcome. Let's talk after we win," Yi Qinghan said in a hoarse voice as he stared at the demon wolf. The demon wolf's expression was grave as he looked down at Jiang Jingtian and Yi Qinghan. He had the intention to retreat. He had never expected Jiang Jingtian to suddenly appear. Jiang Jingtian and the demon wolf had been fighting in the abyss world for 10 years. Jiang Jingtian had no restrictions, and he could only fight and flee at the same time. Unlike the current situation, where he was burdened by his clansmen, he could only fight to the death. It would be difficult for him to forcefully withstand 3,000 moves. His combat strength was almost equal to Yi Qinghan's. If the two of them worked together, even if they could not defeat the demon wolf would not be able to gain any advantage. "You guys are forcing me into a chaotic battle," the demon wolf said coldly. "If it's a battle royale, then so be it. If it's really a battle royale today, I don't believe you'll be able to leave here alive." The three clan elders rushed out one after another. Now that Jiang Jingtian had returned, coupled with the freak Yi Qinghan, their confidence was greatly boosted. "That's right. With the two of us working together with a clan elder, you won't be able to escape death." Although Jiang Jingtian was unwilling to continue killing, he had no choice but to threaten the demon wolf. Once a chaotic battle royale broke out, it would be difficult for the beast tamer lineage to continue their legacy. Fight! The beast tamer lineage was filled with confidence because of Jiang Jingtian's arrival. They wanted to fight to the death. Even if they had to die, they wanted to fight to the death here. Yi Qinghan was silent. This favor was more or less repaid, and there was no need to fight to the death with such a creature. However, if the demon wolf really wanted to fight to the death, then he had no choice but to do so. This group of vicious beasts, excluding the demon wolf in human form, had no way of destroying the beast-tamer lineage. After all, he was not alone. There was still Li Feng, Zixian, and the other 3 experts. After a long time, Yi Qinghan said in a hoarse voice, "You can't win. Retreat. If you don't want to see the human race, then we will withdraw from the Abyss world." The demon wolf was unwilling to give up. It had been brewing for so long, and it had taken advantage of the cold snow to launch the beast tide. However, Yi Qinghan had suddenly appeared and disrupted it. If not for him, it would not have been able to hold on until Jiang Jingtian returned, and the beast-tamer lineage would have been destroyed. Back then, Jiang Jingtian had been chased by it for 10 years and could only escape in a sorry state. Even if his cultivation had increased by several times, he would at most be on the same level as Yi Qinghan. After the clan elders were all dead, he would still be hunted down. The demon wolf stared fiercely at Yi Qinghan and roared, "As a member of the myriad beast race, with the bloodline of the giant dragon, you actually helped the human race." Yi Qinghan indifferently replied, "It's just a favor. I've said it from the start. You won't get any benefits. Even if Jiang Jingtian didn't return, we would have joined hands and abandoned the beast-tamer lineage to kill you. Why bother? Brat, I'll remember you." The demon wolf coldly glanced at Yi Qinghan, then turned to look at Jiang Jingtian and mocked, "You were chased by me for 10 years and still managed to escape. Consider yourself lucky. Let's see how long you can live." "You don't have to worry about how long I can live. At least I won't die by your hands." Jiang Jingtian thought back to the past 10 years, and how he had escaped death several times. He hated the demon wolf to the core. If it weren't for his clan, he would have joined hands with Yi Qinghan to break his spirit. "Ha ha! Good courage. I'll give you 10 days to leave the Abyss world. If you can't leave, I'll show you the power of the Abyss world." The demon wolf turned around and left. With a long howl, the myriad beasts retreated. The divine bird saw the demon wolf retreat and wanted to continue acting, but Yi Qinghan grabbed it. "Don't provoke him. If we fight to the death, we won't be able to take advantage of him," Yi Qinghan calmly said. The beast-tamer lineage members let out a breath of turbid air. They had only lost a few thousand people in this crisis. Most of them were weak cultivators who were killed by the shockwave. If they continued to fight, their foundation would be destroyed. Jiang Jingtian knelt down on one knee and said respectfully, "Thank you for saving me. Otherwise, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. It's just a favor. There's no need to thank me. Get up and leave the Abyss world with me. The demon wolf has been defeated this time. He will definitely join hands with the other shape-shifted beasts in the Abyss world. Even if one of them is willing to help, we will all be wiped out." Yi Qinghan reminded in a deep voice. 10 days is too short. It will be difficult for all of us to move out." Jiang clan elder frowned. "Do your best. Even if you mobilize all the birds, we must leave this place. This is not a joke." Since the demon wolf dared to speak, he must have the ability to summon other shape-shifted beasts. Jiang Jingtian and I can only keep the demon wolf at bay. If another creature of the same level comes, the 3 of you clan elders will be pinned down. With so many beasts attacking together, none of us will be able to survive." Yi Qinghan said seriously. "You are right. I have fought this demon wolf for 10 years. I almost died a few times. He is simply too strong. The infant Qilin is no match for him." Jiang Jingtian said truthfully. Many people felt helpless, especially the elders. They had lived here for their entire lives and were unwilling to leave. Only the younger generation wanted to leave. "You all go back and take the resources. Take everything you can. We will leave at night." Yi Qinghan spoke again. The 3 clan elders thought for a moment and decided to retreat. There were only a few 100,000 people in total. They could at least occupy a territory and survive. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.